Also, I'll get there. However, the game may move on. The box campaign. So, to remind you of where you were, the 5 of you, were located within the Cragmaw Castle. I just noticed Eric's not here.
Yep. It's appropriate.
Eric, I'm going to refuse to start until you get... Unless your mic's not working.
Oh, I accidentally brushed the damn mute button again.
Bitch.
Way too easy to do.
Well, then what were you saying?
I was saying that it is still loading. I've been loading for the last minute.
I guess. Fresh.
Yeah, that happened to me. I had to close out my browser and restart it. For some reason, it wouldn't load in.
Yeah.
Give that a try.
Gathering steam. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna close Chrome.
Bring it.
Oh, it heard us talking about Dragon Ball Z. It's doing the Dragon Ball Z load in. That takes a little longer. Eat a senzu bean, it'll help.
Loading special effects engine.
Senzu bean, it'll help.
I've never had it take this long to load.
It's because Nate's too hot, and Roll20 just can't take it.
Oh, is he titty streaming?
Yeah, he is. I've never seen a V cut so deep in my life.
It's like it's not even a shirt anymore, man.
Yeah, it's basically like he's wearing suspenders with sleeves.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That's good.
Woo! I'm fanning myself over here. What's this? Nate's been kicked from Twitch.
It's not as deep as some necklines.
Boy, this is really not working for Eric, is it?
It was okay. So it's finally. I see you guys. The music came in and it was blaring. It's much better now, but it was just a black screen for a moment, and the music was like almost deafening.
That's great.
Yeah.
But you're in the game?
I see your connection to the server has been interrupted. Anything you do right now? Wow.
Maybe I should reset.
You do a quick speed test.
20 is just having some... No, here you
Yo.
are.
There's our boy. Okay, weird. Don't care for it. Don't care for it at all.
I'm still looking at a brown backdrop.
Nope.
I don't see anything.
I'm trying.
Just did a speed test and I just got 170 megabits per second, so...
yeah, but each megabit's a piece of garbage.
Don't
okay,
insult us, megabits.
I see the map now.
Okay, think we're all good?
Ooh, the V cut.
Oh, Ben's gone. Oh, okay, I know. Look at it, man. Whew. That clavicle.
You're going to get banned from Twitch, man.
Oh, look at them guns. He's like flexing and relaxing at the same time.
Twitch has gotten very strict about these, man. You're going to get yourself in trouble.
I can't get a webcam now. We'll never get anything done.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, the real problem is going to be Nate started saying he would do jumping jacks for donations. So I think that's what's going to...
That's going to be banned on Twitch.
That used to be a thing.
No,
They
yeah.
would do jumping jacks for every $1 you donated.
Wow.
Because the internet's gross.
Or you mean magical?
No, because I was paying for it, and that's gross.
Yeah, that's real gross.
He's frugal.
Well, I mean,
also
for
horny,
you.
So.
Yes, obviously, Jeremy, I'm the gross one here.
We all agree on that.
No one is debating this.
Alright, let's catch you back up. So the 5 of you, joined by right off the Druid, left the Neverwinter, the northern Neverwinter woods east of Neverwinter. You travel down after a brief encounter with a owlbear that seemed to scare Frank, but it was defeated pretty quickly. Shortly after, you arrived at Cragmaw Castle. Once there, you made camp, scouted the perimeter, and then composed for quite some time to produce your own unique plan on how to approach it. Ultimately settling upon the idea of disguising yourself as valid members of the Black Spider's employ, and seeking counsel with King Groll through some wonderful rolling. I'm talking to you, Nate. You made your way through the main entrance and were escorted past even one obstacle where someone again tested you on your validity for being there, and you again succeeded. So I was not going easy on you. Once you made it into King Groll's, I most like to say that because I think sometimes people think, "Man, this game was really easy." I'm like, no, you made it easy.
The advantage on the rolls helped a lot.
Yeah, I did. It's a good item you had employed there. As you arrived in King Groll's quarters, he was not thrilled to see you, nor was an actual member of the Black Spider's army. He, furious at your impertinence and at showing up here and pretending to be a member of his organization, shouted for aid, and combat began. You quickly were able to separate his reinforcements from arriving, namely in the form of a wind tunnel, and you soundly routed both King Groll and a mysterious doppelganger, who I think his name was Vareth, I want to say. He was only apparently taking the form of a tall, gaunt elf, and it was in fact a doppelganger creature who apparently, as a member of Black Spider's army, presumably takes on many roles to suit many needs. At this point, you were able to then take on the remainder of the Cragmaw Castle as they attempted to storm the room. And with the help of Right-Off turning into a giant bear and a number of cleverly laid spells, namely Jeremy's eviscerating things with a fucking fire blast, you quickly routed the reinforcement army of Cragmaw clan. And that is where we begin right now. So you are standing in the northeastern chambers, surrounded by hobgoblin, bugbear, and a doppelganger corpses. Right-Off has rescinded down to his previous form as a kind of gangly druid, and the place is yours.
So was that doppelganger actually wearing leather armor, or was it just part of its doppelganging disguise?
Oh, he's nude now.
Okay.
He's doppeldangling.
I like.
Is
I
there
like
like a
and
thing
don't
that's
like.
the opposite of inspiration that you can give Frank?
A curse or something? Frank's already dealt with
No.
a curse.
Four curses.
So yeah, it is a special. It is definitely a. I mean, getting a look at it, Nate, you can tell with probably a quick glance that this is a special sort of leather armor. It is uniquely cut. I mean, you could tell it's sort of masterwork material.
The begin casting detect magic on the area in general.
Wait, did you say me and Cassian?
No, I said to begin casting detect magic.
Oh,
Sorry.
casting. Okay, yeah, you cut out, and I was like, "Well, I can't detect magic."
Sorry.
I don't even believe in it.
Try harder.
Do you believe in magic? In a young girl's heart?
Oh no.
Give reverse inspiration to Pogues.
It just keeps.
But music can free me.
Yeah, how's it feel, Bugs?
I'm getting increasingly more angry.
You guys are just haters on my great singing ability, and it's fine.
It's fair. It's fair.
Jealousy is a sweatpant you don't wear well.
Is that from something?
It sounds like it's
Yeah.
from 9-9.
No, it's from a different show that I know I'm the only person who saw. So now I'm making references just for me.
That one's for me.
No sweatpants are worn well.
That is true.
Yeah, he does a pretty excellent point. So, Nate, you crouch down over this deceased doppelganger and begin to inspect his armor while casting the spell to take a better look at it. As you do, the DM is going, quick moment. Let's hear somebody else talk about what they wish to do, as I quickly confer.
Just to verify, I know it's badly damaged, but I was able to gather up the remnants of the king's armor.
Yes, actually, yes, you were. That one I had ready for you. Gotta remember which type of armor it is.
I believe you said it was plate.
I often say things descriptively during a fight that I may not mean to be proper game terminology, but I'm pretty sure I did mean plate. Let me just go ahead and check.
That's right. It's made of saucers and dinner plates.
Yes, it is plate.
Ooh, shit.
It is some impressive looking plate armor that has been adorned with sort of a gold in various places. In fact, almost gaudily so. It also has what appears to be a skull that's been bronzed, dipped in gold, and firmly mounted on the shoulder. It's a small skull, not a human skull. Perhaps a goblin skull or some smaller creature.
Looks like an orc skull.
There are what appear to be also bones that have been solidified and also dipped in gold and placed mounted on like the upper arm, the lower arm, and then the legs. So the various like actual plates of the plate armor have been adorned with bones. It is intimidating as it looked being worn by King Groll, and as such, it adds a +1 to your intimidation.
Ooh.
And a -5 to your hide check.
Well, it's disadvantage.
Just on stealth.
I already just kind of leave that to you guys.
Yeah.
You guys go ahead. Yell if things go tits up.
We got Gundren freed and patched up, right?
His head just
Yeah,
fell
he
off.
got. Yeah,
I know.
Potion.
Yeah, we gave him the healing potion to kind of get him on his feet.
Yeah, I think
Should we?
all that happened was somebody went over and gave him and started giving him a potion. And that's I think precisely where we led.
I
ended
thought
last
Eric
time.
chiseled him free using a chisel and hammer.
He
actually
chiseled
chiseled
himself free during the fight.
Self-respecting dwarf wouldn't.
So the question is actually, who is the one administering this potion?
I thought Frank did it, but
Yeah, I
like,
did
he
it
poured
last
into
game,
so
his- I mean, did we want to also do a medicine check on him just to kind of maybe apply some bandages or tend to any wounds?
Well, a healing should have like sealed any like serious wounds.
That's true.
What we really need to do is go find a place to sleep. On Stramble.
Yeah, there's
Just
still
let me
probably
knock out a quick 8.
there's still probably a lot of forces left in this castle. We should either dedicate to killing them off or skedaddle.
Short rest.
I
Not
did.
here.
Short rest and then let's murder him.
Yeah, I say let's fortify these doors and rest here shortly after we gather up anything we need and then get the hell out of here.
Do we think they'll really leave us alone for an hour?
If we bar the door really well with well, the problem is the one area's there's only the one door that looks like it's securable, right? The other stuff's damaged on.
Yeah, didn't we blow apart one and there's a table in front of it now? So they'll find holes in that and shoot arrows at us. I don't think sleeping here or resting here for an hour is really a viable idea.
No, I believe they're routed. They're running. They're in the hills. They're in hiding. They're afraid of us.
Does anybody not want to rest? They could just scout for us and give us advance warning if we're going to get attacked. Would anyone here not benefit from short rest? Probably Tramble, I'm thinking.
I'm 3 hit points short of full, but I
He
can
has
live
no
without 3
magic.
hit points.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I burned,
short rest won't give me any magic back.
I burned
Oh.
all my spell slots, and I
I just
only
need
have-
health back.
Yeah, I only have 15 more HP of my lay on hands.
But yeah, I've only got one spell left, so those two could use it to get their hit points back. So yeah, I can stand guard.
I feel
If you give me my hit points back, I'll stand guard too. The only reason I need the rest is I just got to be able to use my hit die. We didn't have like a rule where I could use them. Like, did we make a rule where it's like you can use just one over like a 15-minute break, or did I imagine that? I imagine that, judging by Nate's face.
yeah, I think there's second wind or something that the fighter gets.
No, I thought it was like a house thing we were gonna do,
Oh, I don't.
not like an actual rule.
I think that's too close to how second wind works. Well, no,
I
second
did use
wind's
my
actually
second
in-
wind, so if
Oh,
I
right.
rest, I get that back.
Is that a fighter tower?
I guess
Yes.
I'd just rather rest here than like run into something on our way out, or in the forests without rests. I'd rather take.
Is
chance.
the dog on our side?
I agree.
I think it's still
The druid
sleeping.
calmed the dog, didn't he?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
druid calmed the dog, and he's currently. Yeah, we'll actually say that the druid is here inside, sort of leaned over and sort of petting this wolf. There seems to be some sort of mutual understanding occurring there. That is surprising, considering the ferocious way that it attempted to attack you earlier.
Should we take the king's head as proof that he's dead?
Always.
Oh, definitely.
All right, I'll set about leerily watching the dog as I do it, taking out my little hatchet and lifting the king's head up and cutting it off. There was like a bed in here, right?
Yeah, but
yes.
it's shattered now.
It's currently been shattered under.
That's all right. I'll go
Barrett.
get the pillow that I'm sure he has. It's full of like hay or whatever, and I'll shake it out and put his head inside the case, and then tie it off with a little bit of rope and hook it to my belt.
I love it. Good.
James says we should pile the bodies as a defensive barrier.
I mean, how many do
I
we
see
have in
James
here?
saw 300.
It's a good movie. Fight in the Shade. That's the only line I remember.
I love it. You're like, good movie. I remember one solitary line.
Yeah.
The mark of a good film.
I like the mockery one where they say we will hug in the shade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Our bees will blot out the sun. The sun in the shade.
Actually, gonna clear some of this. As you sort of can look around, you are able to more easily sort of see outside. Moving some of this a bit more. Didn't clear last time because going piecemeal, fight by scene fight.
Look out! It's dangerous. It killed one of its cardinal directions. Oh, thank God, he's still alive.
It's just so... Huh.
Okay, Nate. So as you remove his armor, it's impressive looking armor, namely because it looks it's light armor. It's a studded leather that has been cut and shaped so it can be worn and be extremely flexible. It has a few more of these sort of mesh, what look like made of a slight bit of mithril in the gaps of the leather to make it so it can bend but not have as much exposure. And that part, as you examine it, you realize that while mithril is impressive, it's not made of entirely of mithril. It's just very good construction.
Yeah, sure.
But there is a unique feature to it, namely that there are small hooks located in the wrist and on the foot that seem to be able to be pulled out and then sort of pulled into the palm and extended on the foot. They are jagged, they are thick, they look like climbing
Yeah.
pitons, and they are meant for climbing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I'll give like a
this-
low whistle when I see the mithril, because
Yeah.
I assume that's fairly stunning.
Because
even
you've
if I've
seen
never
Lord of
s-
the Rings.
I've never seen it. My character would have never seen it before, but I assume it makes an impression.
It definitely is like a shiny,
stopper than we thought.
kind of a shimmery that's been coated in like a black, like onyx paint so that doesn't give off a lot of light to keep it stealthy. This is very much looks like the attire of an assassin, which is a little surprise to you considering his ability to shapeshift.
Okay. I immediately start taking off my armor and moving to put that on without running it by anyone else in the rest of the group. So, that is awesome. awesome. And I'm very excited about it. And I suppose I would search the rest of his body for anything else at the same time.
Yep. The armor is, like I said, studded leather in terms of quality, which means I think 12 plus your dex. And then the climbing pitons, when activated, add a +2 to your athletics check to make any kind of up or down climb.
Cool.
Yep.
Did you say it has a stealth bonus, or is it just flavor?
No, it's flavor. Just quite. It's dark and impressive.
Yeah, still works for me. I think outfit-wise. Thanks.
Cool. So yeah, you guys. Right off is calming this wolf, which they appear to be becoming fast friends. Virith is just dead in the corner and being stripped of his armor. King Groll has been stripped of his armor. Sorry, I was doing a couple things real quickly. Who is tending to Gundren?
I am.
So, as you kind of get close and begin giving him this potion while your allies are off doing their examination of their gear, you kind of get a look at this guy. He's been beaten pretty bad. He has the red hair and some braids, although it's grayer than you remember. And as he sits
I'd say
up,
I was there too.
and you knock back. Yeah, sure. Where is? Yeah, there you are. Okay. As he sits back and leans back against the wall, you see a better look. You can get a better look at him as he takes the potion down, and you notice something that doesn't quite fit with your memory of him is that he is wearing an eye patch
And he's also a doppelganger.
over his left eye. And he kind
Does
of
he feel wiser?
he mumbles and takes the potion, which is enough to get him a few hit points, enough to get him to moving and talking. But with that said, what are your thoughts? What is your plan?
I'm gonna tell him that it took a while, but we came for him.
Shh, he might not realize how many days it's been.
Ask him if he remembers us.
And he kind of like he's holding his head as if he has the world's worst hangover. And like I said, there's kind of a lot of his blood kind of his wrist was cut downwards like this pretty badly, which is tended to as you're sort of taking care of him. And apparently, while ultimately a fatal wound, he appears like he might be able to recuperate, but it looks like he's taken some long-term damage. As he stumbles, he kind of looks up and sort of like through the only good eye looks at you and says, "I appreciate it, but who are you?"
Oh.
We're the guys that you hired to make that delivery to Flandern.
He does not. There's not a registration of this news to him.
What is the last thing you remember?
And he kind of looks back both at you, Tramble, then kind of back at you, and he goes, "Well, we set up camp not far from Phandelver, and I was awaiting my brother Gundren to come in from Neverwinter, and he never made it. So Nundro and I, Tharden and I went out. That was me making the mistake. Tharden and I began scouring the woods looking for him. And then after 2 days, we gave up. Tharden, well, he just went for the cave. But I stayed at camp, and I went back west looking for. Sorry, what's that?
What is your name?
My name's Nundro.
We got the wrong dwarf.
That is.
Guys, this is really
racist.
racist.
Nundro Rockseeker?
Yes, Nundro Rockseeker. That's right.
I'm sorry, sir. The plaque underneath your character says Gundrel.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So
My name's Nundro.
we were hired to find your brother by Sildar. Do you know Sildar?
Yes. Sildar put our whole mission together. He ensured secrecy that no one would find out about our quest. frankly, I think he failed us pretty badly. In fact, I may think that he's responsible. I don't have any proof of that, but we only spoke to the Lord's Alliance about what we were doing here. And look what happened. Gundren never made it, and we were ambushed. I was ambushed.
Glassstaff was the traitor in the Lord's Alliance, right?
Wait,
Yes.
he was, but
Iarno.
yeah, I was just thinking the guy who was with Gundren, the dude who then showed up in town that we rescued the first time.
Solar?
Yeah, that dude.
The guy who you traveled down here with?
Yeah.
Or who traveled down here with Gundren, I mean?
Yeah, didn't he? Okay. Why didn't he tell us this dude had a brother that was with them?
And who was the other guy he was talking about? Like Thundrin or something?
Tharden, that's the third brother. There's
Tharden.
3 Rock Seekers.
Okay, there's 3 Rock Seekers.
Gundren, Nundro, and Tharden.
And what bit is Thardrin missing?
They said Nundro just said that Tharden went for the cave. He went for
I was
Wayback
poking
Cave.
fun at his missing eye.
So does he know what became of Gundren?
No, he kept searching the woods for Gundren, and before he could find him, he was captured by the Cragbog.
So why was the Black Spider agent interested in you?
He has a hard time with him. He's like, frankly, I don't know who the Black Spider is. Look, the cave is our birthright. Our great-great-grandfather was the first to break rock there. It belongs to us. We came here for it. And we have... Well, we have ways of getting inside. Which that gentleman was trying to make sure that I knew. And I would tell him, but I refuse. And then... Oh, I get it now. He kind of pauses and goes, is his name really the Black Spider?
Some people refer to him as the Ebon Arachnid.
That's sad. Yeah, a gentleman in a cloak, an elf fellow. He had a cloak with a spider emblem on it. He came and he took Gundren, and he cut my arm. And he shows his arm up, and he didn't even say damn word. And he left me with that man. And he points over at the shape changer, and that was well, I've been unconscious a while, but I think that was about a day ago. Look, are you gonna take me back to town or not? Because it sucks here.
Yeah.
Let's
Let's rest up real quick.
At the moment.
So the druid was here yesterday?
He
No, the druid,
the Black Spider. He it just clicked for him who the Black Spider was. Was a creepy looking elf that came here yesterday to the castle and took away with his brother, who was sorry, I'm fucking my own story. He came here and took away his map. That's what he did. Fucking my own story. Sorry.
he took away his brother's map.
Yes.
What's the document that Cassian grabbed then?
Oh yeah, remember I picked up a map that I pulled off of the doppelganger?
Yeah, not a map, but a blank page that the doppelganger was attempting to escape. It is a piece of parchment with nothing on it.
I don't
Oh,
believe
this is
that for a
clearly
second.
worthless. I light it on fire.
My detect magic lasts for 10 minutes and tells me anything magical within 30 feet. Is that paper magical?
You're a smart crew. Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, I say something's up with that map, Cassian. I feel some...
What map? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I saw you grab it. I was standing there.
Just fucking around.
when that happened. So, yeah, and I point that out, and I assume it's some kind of illusion magic that I can sense off of it. But
I will. I'll hand Dario
Yeah,
the map.
detect
and say
magic tells you
you'll
the-
probably have better luck than me then.
Detect magic tells you the school, and the school is illusion.
So yeah, I can't do anything with it. I can tell you it's definitely
Oh, so
enchanted.
Trample would probably be
Yeah.
able to. He's our, yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Trample.
No. Is it a wounded person or a thing to kill?
Those are his only two.
Yeah. I mean, can't they choose Arcana to figure out how it works, or no?
Can I persuade it to tell me what it does?
It's magic. Maybe it's alive, like the Sorting Hat.
If
As
it was
you
a
guys
talking sword, I could do it.
as you guys are sort of like looking over and poring over this map, you see Nundro looking a little nervous, and he reaches and goes, "Don't just be careful with it."
Can I roll insight to see if he's lying to us about the document? Or if I get a sense of that?
Well, he hasn't said anything about the document.
Well, he said be careful with that, about that
Yeah.
scroll.
Why, Nundro? What is this?
I want to do something silly.
He looks nervous. And he's like, "Look, I appreciate everything you've done, but I don't know who you are. I need to get back to town with my things."
I think you could walk there, or you could tell us what this is.
I think he's in a hurry. And
I've heard that you can write secret messages if you're
Yes!
invisible. But if you apply heat to them, then the message becomes visible. So we should just, hold this over the fire over
no,
there.
stop, Alcar.
No,
Do you
don't
have
stop.
any idea that isn't dumb?
I was trying to make Nundro have the reaction that Dario had.
Yeah. So, Dario, he is sweating. His eyes are fixated on it, and he keeps looking around. And as he's staring at it, he is holding his wrist tightly.
You know anything about illusion magic, Nundra?
Look, I'm a collector. I don't know magic. Not my thing.
Because this map, or whatever it is, that Cassian's holding is enchanted with illusion magic. You seem really worried about it right now. And you seem to really want to leave as soon as possible on both these
Look,
things.
it's written in P.
It's written.
Is but he will. Oh, no bad. He says, "Look, that's just some parchment for taking inventory of all the treasure that we were going to find in the cave." And Nate, this is the worst lie
Yeah, like why would you
you've
record
ever seen.
a shopping list on a magical piece of parchment? I don't buy that for a second. Yeah.
Finally,
Is he still chained up at this point? Because I feel like if he isn't,
you
we
are
should probably
staring
chain
him
him back up.
You are staring him square in the eyes as he's giving what even he can tell is one of his worst lies as he's saying it. And he relents and takes a breath and he goes, "Look, fine. Just tell me one thing. What are you doing here? What is your plan with
We
me
wanted to save Gundren.
and with Gundren?"
I don't see why we can't reunite you with him if you stop lying to us and start working with us.
Roll me some persuasion. You or anyone or both.
It doesn't work. Eric, put that
I
armor
didn't
on.
roll both of them.
No, 16's good. Says, "Fine. Someone give me a dagger."
I pull out my dagger and hand it to him.
I take a step back.
And he takes it and he kind of
I'm still holding my sword, just for the record.
he holds
it's
the
still
blade
out.
and he slowly kind of gives himself a mild cut on the hand, and then you can see the blood kind of pool in a clenched fist, and he kind of reaches out and he places it on the parchment, and then he wipes his hand downward, and as he does, you can see grooves under the blood that start to slowly rise up and form what is an array of Dwarven text.
Ooh, I can read that.
I was getting ready to be like, God damn it, does any of us speak Dwarven?
I do not. So,
I believe orcs cannot speak Dwarven, but I believe they can read Dwarven symbols. Let me double check that though.
Is it in your language list?
It certainly sounds weird.
What language do dwarves speak?
Dwarven.
But seriously, just no one here speaks Dwarven.
I don't speak Dwarven.
He does.
Yeah, Andro does.
No, according to the wiki, dwarves speak Undercommon?
That's
No.
our...
Dur-
That's a type of language?
but Underdark dwarves have a different language. That's...
You are right, it's just called Dwarven. Weird.
You can speak, read, and write Common and Orc. Orc is harsh, but it has no script of its own, but is written in the Dwarvish script. Damn it. That's what I was thinking of.
Now wait,
So it's like same character set, but different.
It's
words.
kind of like, yeah, how Japanese and Chinese have the same characters, but
this is getting real racist, guys. Let's.
French and
Here's the
English?
here's the question though.
Yeah, but aren't those facts?
Chinese and Japanese are close enough together that you can kind of tell what certain symbols mean because they mean a similar
Only-
thing in both languages.
only sometimes.
Eric, just fucking same
Okay.
team.
Oh.
God damn it.
So we can think we know what it says and then get it completely wrong and get ourselves
Yeah.
killed.
I
But-
guess let's ask him to read it. Or does
Right.
the druid read dwarf?
No, he's cooperating. He's cooperating.
Doesn't Algar have something with languages? Or he can telepathically communicate regardless of language?
I can communicate, but like I don't think I can make him read it and then read his mind. That would be
Quick,
No, I was
project
just
your mind
wondering if
into
you
the
could
map.
yourself read it without him. But I
no.
guess-
I don't think so.
So it's not necessarily that the text is directly legible. He explains to you that look, I could translate it, but frankly, it wouldn't make a terrific amount of sense in common. It's an old rock seeker chant in Dwarven. It was what my
A lot of idioms and context.
yes, exactly. My elders spoke it.
Why would
As-
you need to make it an invisible message?
My elders spoke it, and as far as I understand, while I've not been able to test it, it will open the way to Wave Echo Cave. To keep things safe, I kept the parchment, and my brother kept the map. Unfortunately, the map doesn't have the same magic, and, well, now that black arachnid bug man that you mentioned earlier, he knows how to get there. But I think he won't be able to get in. I think. He seemed formidable. And he took Gundren with him. God knows what that will result in.
Did Gundren know the chant?
He kind of sits for a minute and he goes, yes, but he would never give it up.
You sure about that?
Pretty sure.
We should hurry.
60-40.
We should get back to Phandelver.
Like right now? Or after a short rest?
Yeah, after a short rest, we should rest as soon as possible and get back to Phandelver.
Oh yeah, Agmar definitely
All
needs
right,
to rest.
let's
Like I
let's
said, I
fortify this
have...
room up and take our short rest then.
So we're gonna have Tramble out on the perimeter or something.
I would prefer to rest too, if I may. I really don't think we'll be attacked.
Yeah, I feel like this is defensible if we are attacked, so I'm not gonna push him.
Those aren't great. The
I cast
14
Mordenkainen's Faithful Watchdog.
to see if I can hear anything, straining with my wolf-like hearing. If I
Actually-
can hear anything like moving, as
Can
if
you ask-
anything's coming up on us.
I'd like to ask right off to send out his falcon, if it's still with him. I'm not sure where it is. Like, it could scout for us, right? Give us some kind of scream or something if someone comes.
It was a hawk, you racist.
I'm not actually sure if those are different
That'd be
species.
speciesist.
Okay.
Yeah, he released his hawk. Well, he leans up, he moves over to the window, with the dog now still following him, and he sort of releases the hawk as it kind of arrives at the window, and he kind of extends his hand and it kind of accepts the hawk and speaks to it, then turns around and lets it kind of just leave the window and fly up. Then give me 1 second.
The bedroll's coming out for a short rest. Here we go.
So, yeah, you settle in for some rest, and the hawk goes up and then heads for the woods and sort of begins to swing along around. I mean, you can't really see it, but you can see it briefly as it disappears outside the window. And the druid sort of sits down. He's an older gentleman. I think I mentioned this. So he looks a little out of breath, especially after taking the shape of a bear and eating like 4 goblins. So he looks tired, and he kind of leans against the wall and acknowledges that the rest is probably the right call right now. As he settles in, a couple of you are blessed. Is that something that sticks around, or I assume is that gone?
I think it's like 1 minute.
So.
Okay, so that's going to be gone. Okay. After a second or two, so after about 20 minutes have passed, you've settled into whatever corner of the room. What do you guys do with the bodies?
Barricade.
I'm not sure I trust this doppelganger body thing. I'd probably try to remove it from the room.
Yeah, so we'll say that they're sort of removed from the room, and you make your rest. After about 20 minutes, as you start to settle in, you hear just a little bit of rubble tumble off of the wall here. And as you sort of turn your head, whoever is still sort of awake, not awake, I mean, no one's really gotten a chance to go to sleep yet, but still sort of attentive. I think Fogues was namely doing some perception checks, if I recall correctly.
That was before we went to sleep. I got to rest.
Do you actually sleep for a short rest?
No.
Well, no, but
I think for flavor, it's considered just sort of like chilling. It's suddenly very apparent that there is a goblin window, and only apparent as he arcs back what appears to be a bottle of some kind and chucks it into the room through the arrow slit, and then disappears off the balcony.
Can we make
Just
a reaction check to try to catch it?
just before this happens,
With
the
mage
dog has
hand?
no reaction before the goblin shows up.
Let me roll for the dog. I like this. Yeah.
Dog's reaction is to catch it in midair.
I was hoping that he alerts us to the goblin before we all get
He
caught
gets
on fire.
advantage on clean. Ooh. It's a
Pork,
shitty
pork.
dog. So no, the dog does not appear to have caught a wind of anything. And I rolled double stealth checks, passed them both. So a bottle of alchemist fire comes cascading into the room, and
Oh, should we have put where we were before? I'm sorry, I wouldn't have laid up against the door.
yeah, go ahead and put where you would assume yourself would be.
I would have gone probably over there, so we're
Sure,
like
sure.
near the doors, but
I assume you'd all be sort of chilling up against a wall somewhere.
I was actually trying to make friends with the dog, so I've been out. I'm fine being
Perfect. Smashing onto the ground in front of you is a bottle of alchemist fire. So go ahead and give me a dexterity check. Both of you will, actually.
so does this eliminate the benefits of our short rest?
Yes. You have not taken a short rest. Nate, you spring out of the way. So you're gonna take 3 damage, and your cloak or whatever sort of loose clothing you have is sort of caught in the fire and catches a bit, and you sort of tumble to the side and sort of swat out some of the flames, and the dog is just ignited in flames and is just barking and panicking.
I would like to roll perhaps a wisdom to keep my wits about me in this moment, and then do an arcana to see if there's a known thing to do to put out alchemist fire and try to save the dog.
So, alchemist fire is an alchemical flame. But yeah, let's go ahead and roll. Why don't you roll an intelligence check? That is what wisdom. That is what alchemy, I believe, is utilized.
Okay, so I'm just doing an intelligence check.
Yeah, you're doing a raw intelligence check, unless you have an alchemy kit or something. It would be a raw intelligence save.
I have the alchemy notes. Can I use those to smother the fire?
Yeah, Frank, you can recognize a chemical or two that it was used in, and somewhat like a grease fire is worsened by water, it is in fact smothering that puts out alchemist fire, not water. Water makes it worse.
I'm going to yell out, smother the flames. I'm going to pull my cloak off me and wrap it around the dog and try to pat down the flames. And I would also like to use my awakened mind to order the dog to roll, and hopefully he'll do that.
Let's save some things for your turn.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't see we put up turn order.
Tramble's getting that that short rest whether you like it or not.
I think that's our old initiatives, right?
Yeah, I don't remember
we
rolling
haven't-
a 5.
We haven't rolled anything yet.
All right. Queuing up things here. A second. Yeah, so let's go ahead. Don't roll yet. All right, you're now cleared to roll.
That could have been better.
Okay. Let's fucking begin. So, disturbed after only moments of rest, you see that a few remaining members of the castle have decided to attempt to ambush those that have fouled and routed their king. So they begin combat first. So outside the window, this goblin is going to make a quick climb check. Let's out some stuff here, sorry. It's like DMing online is full of rich opportunities, but also constantly clicking on fucking menus. Okay. So, this goblin's going to make a quick climb check. Ensure that he's able to get up in the window. You know, very nice. This goblin sort of pops back up in the window and draws back a small short bow that he's put sort of reversed through the arrow slit.
How's he holding on to the arrow slit's just like a flat part of a wall with a hole in it?
Yeah, he has stepped up onto some loose rubble with that climb check, and he is able to stand there and roll. Oof. So yeah, your druid shouts an alarm and falls to the ground as an arrow sinks into his shoulder, sticking out right above the shoulder blade. He shouts and tries to grab it as he sort of like falls back. Yeah, their clawed feet and falling apart rubble has allowed him to sort of perch up on the opposite side of an arrow slit.
Who'd he shoot?
Short bow.
He shot a short bow at your druid friend.
Okay.
So we didn't get any warning from the hawk, right?
Yeah, it starts making noise.
Okay.
Don't worry, I rolled for it. I'm not just fucking you over. I think we'll do it actually for me. So let's go ahead and move on to next. Oh, close the order. My bad. Trample.
So how much of him can I see if he shot our druid so easy?
So he has cover from you because of his position outside the window, but you can see him.
Is the alchemical fire area still like a danger?
No, it's a quick flash burn that's smoldering, but the dog is still sort of like catching fire. But yeah, the ground has got sort of small leaping flames on it. It's fading quickly, but it's still a danger, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Eric, you are totally wounded, right?
I'm actually better off than you'd think.
I want to die. So really, in a way,
Oh no, like
Alright, I'm gonna leave Eric to die.
I'm good.
I'm gonna
Trade the
firebolt at
sutures for me.
the thing. So with its cover, do I get disadvantage, or does it just get a AC bonus?
It gets an AC bonus from its full cover.
That will not hit then.
Yes, that would not hit.
And then I'm gonna move to outside.
Oh, sorry, 3/4 cover. So you you throw a firebolt out that catches just the corner of the window and then sort of skips to the other side and just sort of explodes and sends cinders in the air, but not in a way that damages any of the opponent's battlefield. Agmar, these events are unfolding in front of you. What do you do?
I guess so. Aeroslit, how wide is this? I mean,
it's relatively wide, and it's way wider on your side. You could kind of get up in that little perch, like
Okay.
1 square above the
but
druid.
if I literally walk up there and try to stab him with a sword, is that going to be like half cover, or is it still 3/4?
I would say he wouldn't have any cover because he has to be standing literally in a small slot. So it'd be like really hard for you to miss.
I would agree with Pogues on that front. There's actually really no cover system with melee anyway, so
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm going to draw my longsword, and I can
long
walk through. It's pretty long. I can walk. You said it's just smoldering flame now, right? There's no risk.
it's still a danger. Yeah.
Oh, it's still a danger. Okay.
Oh God!
You could knock over
can
that
I-
brazier and push past right off.
The brazier was already knocked over, wasn't it?
Yeah, the brazier's already knocked over, and right
Okay.
off is someone you could pass through. So,
Climb
And
up
I
into
can
the little.
I can
yeah, you
occupy
could-
this.
yep,
Okay.
that's where Archer would be if they were being used for their actual purpose.
Makes sense to me.
So you charge up with your longsword? Yeah, with your longsword out, and you just vault at that thing. And the last second, you see him like move his grip to try and get out of that window, but he doesn't move quick enough. And so the blade comes through, but he's able to sort of get a string, or like the edge of his bow to sort of deflect the blade and pin it against the stone. So he's sort of like pushing your blade against the stone that you're trying to stick it out of with his bow, which is sort of taking a little damage, but he's sort of holding it there to avoid being hit. And you see him panicking, trying to like maybe think about how to hop down from his position because it's suddenly very bad.
He's in a less than ideal situation.
Yeah. Alcar.
Okay, I'm going to try to do all those things I was rambling earlier.
Mhm.
I'm going to yell out what to do about the alchemist fire in case anybody gets on it, that we need to smother it. And then I'm going to mentally order the dog to roll in a clear spot using Awakened Mind. And I will move to the dog and use my cloak to pat down the fire and put him out.
Yeah, I would say no checks. If you're doing both those things, no checks necessary. You step up, the dog pulls back out of the fire, and it kind of almost into your awaiting cloak, and you grab it, and you and the dog are just sort of like, the dog and the cloak are just kind of rolling on the ground. And as you sort of pull it back, the dog is just, it smells fucking terrible, like burnt hair. But the wolf dog is still harmed from the initial blast, but looks to be no longer burning. And you don't see a lot of burned like flesh. It doesn't look like he's had like 3rd degree burns. It looks like he maybe had like a little bit of 1st and perhaps a little bit of 2nd.
Okay.
So, nice work.
And I'm going to mentally order it to guard Nundro and sort of like have him take cover behind the table so he can do that on his turn if he feels like listening to me.
Yeah, so I'm going to give him, just because he spent his turn rolling, I'm going to give him initiative, but I'm just going to put him at the bottom. And so he'll be in the initiative order, but he's basically just going to run over to Nundro right now. Yeah, and he kind of runs in front of Nundro and just sort of looks around, kind of growling. All right, Dario.
Fire's still burning, right?
Or any final movement you want to do, Alcar. You definitely use your action up, but any additional move. I'd say you.
I think I'll move
half your movement. So
up to the next arrow slit to be ready in case anybody else tries to screw us.
Okay, Dario.
Ben, the fire's still burning, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's on its way out, but in speaking game turn, at least one more round of it.
Okay. I will move around it. Can I see him from here? Get a shot on it?
Yeah, you can see him.
All right.
We've got his cover, like I said before, and he's a little bit possible to see.
So that's against his AC, and if it hits, it pulls him 10 feet forward toward me, which should pull him into the fire, I'm pretty sure. So it's basically like Scorpion's thing from Mortal Kombat. It's a long, it's a reach.
This is a thing you have?
Find it, yeah.
What's it called?
Thorn Whip. It's a cantrip.
Oh shit, yeah. Fucking dope.
So I'm trying to pull him
he fit
into
through
this
the arrow loop?
square.
Is Jeremy talking? I hear like quiet.
It's super quiet, but yeah, I heard him say something about hilarious.
Sorry, that's very funny.
Okay, yeah. So you pull him in. What square does he move to?
10 feet toward me, so it should be into the fire. So.
All right. No, let's see for me. I'm gonna take damage off that one. Okay, yeah. So he goes right into the flames, and while the flames aren't leaping, his feet catch immediately, and sort of like the leather and do you damage as well?
Yeah, 1d6 from the piercing of.
That's what I mean. That's what he has left. So he like the whip sort of wraps around his throat, and he's sort of ripped through. And in fact, he kind of skips off of like Eric's still forward sword, and is sort of slashed by it. And he goes tumbling into the flames, and then just erupts. And you see him just flailing around, and then just slowly sizzling, and then being reduced to nothing. Damn, son. Dealt with. Okay, that'll do it. Anything else?
No, I spit on him and then I walk away from the flame. And check.
Trample, did you go?
Makes the flame.
Sorry, did you run outside? Did I miss that on your turn?
Yes, after I fired my firebolt, I moved toward the outside.
Oh shit! I was doing too many. I missed it. Okay. Well, in that case, you tumble past 2 hobgoblins and a single goblin. The goblin, which takes a shot at you as you move out, but not the hobgoblins. What's your AC? It's high, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 19.
Yeah. So he takes a shot as you come out. The hobgoblins, as you kind of kick the door open, the door kind of swings into one of their faces, sort of like obscuring him from your view. This one over here, which is why he did not take an attack of opportunity on you. And the other one is
lucky me.
And there's still one within your range, so he's good. More importantly, they haven't gone yet, so they haven't prepped any attacks. The goblin, however, was prepping an attack, and he fires an arrow. And as you come barreling out this door, the arrow pings off of your armor and kind of falls to the ground harmlessly, having done no damage to you. Cassian, the door now open. You are well aware of the dangers outside. I apologize ahead of time, Nate, for not.
Did Nate reveal anybody by moving to where he did?
Yeah, I moved outside of 3.
Yeah, you, Nate, also reveal one who also takes a prepped action and fires on you.
He's got a turret?
That's just my symbol for ready action.
No, that means
goblins.
he has a
ballista.
appears to be a telescope.
Repeating ballista.
Stars, man.
Where
Dari, you come out, and as you just sort of step out the door, an arrow sort of bounces off the wall next to you and just breaks as it hits the stone, and then falls to the ground. You spin to see the goblin, with just a loose a short bow, just curse in goblin, having just missed you.
Okay.
Cassian.
All right. seeing, I guess, through the door, and I'm assuming Tramble, as he ran out, was like, oops.
Oh! Yeah, and you hear, like, the door hit a hobgoblin, and you hear another one roar, and you hear a bow get fired and miss.
I'm going to sheath my sword, and then... sort of...
Oh, no!
Hunch forward.
No!
And sort of start transforming into the werebeast. And then I'll sort of just move here and growl, because I can't attack on this turn when I transform, unfortunately.
Rawr.
So unless I can, if I try to intimidate them by yelling as a half wolf man, or is that an action?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be an action. You certainly have already succeeded at intimidating them. If that helps.
Okay. And then as my free action, my hands will ignite into flames, both of them.
They do, and this is so dope. I was waiting for this. I was fucking waiting for this.
Yep, I'm straight up Teen Wolf. I agree.
Jeremy, a furious goblin.
I'm assuming Dario's the one who gives me the high fives from behind, or
yes, absolutely. A furious goblin swings angrily at you, missing. So as you take this arrow, you turn to the goblin behind you, who's adjacent to you, and you have a weapon out. Is that right?
No, I would hold my shield and have my hand free right now.
Right, so you got your shield braced with 2 arms, and you just sort of juke and raise it up, and predicts his hit, and he just meets it solidly right in the middle of it and bounces off of it, angry because it's very strange for this sort of quick, wiry human with a shield who appears to be very hard to hit. That's getting him mad. The other is definitely unnerved by the wolf, but being pinned to the corner has no choice but to leap forward with another failed attack. What's their wolf AC, out of curiosity?
It should be 18 right now.
God damn it! Yeah, I got a 10. So he kind of his hand is like his sword is shaking a little bit as he launches it forward, and you just sort of like drop to four limbs for a second and move sharply to the left and then back into your space again, avoiding the sword. Dario, you hear a battle cry, just like, "Swarm them!" And 2 additional hobgoblins come around the corner, not thrilled with how this is going so far, but hoping to do something. 4, 3, 4. And they're both going to take a swing, trying to pin you in the corner. 9. Then 19.
That
Finally.
hit. Yeah.
So the first one meets your weapon. I assume you have the rapier out?
Yeah. I'll have drawn that at the start of the movement.
So you parry as if you... Do you fight like a fencing style? I have to add like a noble?
Yeah, it's going to be poke, poke, poke.
It's very like arm behind you, sort of like... Yeah. So you just sort of quickly sidestep and send this sword in a completely different direction, and it just sort of skips off the stone wall, leaving sparks. But while this is happening, the other one comes launching in with a lunge and catches you in the waist, dealing 4 slashing damage.
Yeah. Okay.
Frank, just for the sake of ease, what do you want Snarl to do?
Seeing the new guys, I'm going to have him attempt to help Dario, I think.
Okay. So, bounding over the table, he, 2, 3, send one more. Oops. There. He vaults into the square, and he is going to go ahead and make an attack. I love this, guys. This wolf is just sort of like a afterthought of this boss. I love that it's become this like element of your party, at least for the moment. And he launches a bite on one of the hobgoblins. And he misses. So the hobgoblin gets his sword up, and he's just sort of like chomped onto his like tough bracer, and he's not like sinking teeth into flesh, but he has got his arm sort of like in his mouth, and the 2 are just sort of thrashing, trying to free from each other's grasp. It's goblin time. That one's dead. This one, still at distance, takes a few steps back and launches another short bow. Oops, wrong weapon. And it gets a 9. So once again, an arrow swings past your head with a whoosh sound. I have just shit dice tonight, boys. All right. The other one is going to move up and try and attack the dog. That's a hit, doing 4 damage. So you hear the dog whimpering cry as the scimitar catches its hindquarters, doing damage. Trample.
All right.
So this asshole just took a shot at you. Level.
Yeah, I will draw my rapier and attack the one close to me.
Sounds good. Using your shield to protect yourself, you draw your rapier successfully, and you leap inward, stabbing at him. But he meets it with his. Actually, your rapier does hit, but it hits center mass, right in the center of his chainmail, and it just bends against the metal and then snaps back. And he kind of looks down at it like, what a silly weapon. Anything else?
They all do that. Nope. That'll be it.
Okay, Agmar. The goblin ran past, was pulled in, past your sword, was sliced and burned, and the fire's gone. Sorry.
So the
Druid.
2 that are flanking, Pogues there. Am I able to? Is that just one doorway?
Yes, but you could get.
Just go through Pogues. Okay. I guess I'll still have my longsword out currently. I will very cautiously pass by the intimidating Cassian. Give him
He kind of smells like not super great.
I'm a little nervous.
Maybe pass even slightly further away from me.
I ain't worried.
Oh no.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'm trying. I just tried to roll and took a big old dump. Hold on. Roll 20 does not like me. It started to roll and then it stopped. And then I couldn't roll anymore. There we go. Had to reopen the sheet. Is that a hit? I feel like that's a hit.
It missed. You doing a hobgoblin? No.
I'll do the one above him. That's
Nope.
a miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, he meets it with his longsword, and your longswords meet and hit twice. It's one high, one low, and then you kind of press them against each other and step back, having met perfectly. Yeah, the hobgoblins are, yeah, as you saw earlier. Well, they didn't get a chance to showcase it in the wind tunnel. Their armor is relatively sturdier than goblins are wearing sort of leather, just sort of strapped around their torso, but hobgoblins are wearing chainmail.
Oh,
And
they're not wearing half plate.
And they've got big pauldrons. And was that a dig?
No, that's a type of armor in this game, half plate.
I think you're making fun of the fact that I always give everything the wrong armor.
No, I was wondering because the other guy was wearing full plate armor, so I didn't know if these guys were wearing half plate.
Actually, I think there's. Yeah. So, here we are. Just because this is helpful. This is generally
Yes, that's a lot of plate armor.
what they look like.
Also, they're for some reason Japanese.
And it says it's chainmail, which is not what I'm seeing.
I guess
but-
it's chainmail underneath the plate.
Yeah.
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 But
it's
why are
considered-
hobgoblins have the slatted shoulder and a top
Samurai.
knot? I don't understand.
Well, they're maybe not quite as armored as those pictures show, but they are wearing shoulder pauldrons and chainmail, so they are a little tougher than.
I am sure there is a rainbow of hobgoblins out there.
Yeah, Pogues. Alcar, you're seeing your friends just exchange vigorous blows with these vicious hobgoblins. What's your plan?
I want to check outside the arrow loop that I'm at, see if there's any hobgoblins hiding out there.
It is clear. You can roll a perception check to be extra sure, though. It will not be your action.
Would that take up an action?
No. Just a scan of the area. Yep. You are really confident that there was only that one that dared sneak out under the hawk's gaze to try and ambush you. The rest were waiting on the interior doors.
I'm going to move here and
Which
cast
one?
Hex on the hobgoblin next to Dario and the dog.
Okay.
I will target, I don't know, Wisdom. And then I will Eldritch Blast him. It is a D4 or D6 Eldritch Blast necrotic damage.
Hex is D6.
Okay.
Security roll.
Definitely a hit. And then, excellent. Sorry, I was changing one thing. What is the target of your attack? It's definitely a hit. None of them have an AC better than that. Okay, yeah. So what's the total? Is it 8?
Yes, and
So-
he's also hexed.
So what do you yell to Nate to tell him to step aside?
Hopefully something.
I don't think I yell anything. I think he's too nonchalant to care.
Nate, you hear the sizzling trademark sound of an Eldritch Blast, and so you sort of gingerly step a little closer to the wall, and it goes flying past you and just sort of cascades up this guy's face and chest, just like burning his chin and his hair singe off, and his armor sort of starts to like bubble and melt a little bit from the blast.
Does one of the tentacles just kind of caress Dario as it goes by?
A little bit. Dario's not
See,
sure.
there it is. There's that nonchalance. He doesn't even have anything to say.
Dario, you're up.
I
Is
use
anybody
my.
else concerned whether or not that's Dario's reaction or this is Nate's reaction to Frank's like sexual overtures towards him in every game we play?
Porcating.
Tell me more about that
those.
V-neck he was wearing, Pogues.
Was.
Hey, motherfucker's wearing a deep V. I'm just talking facts.
Yeah, so after I just about get my head taken off by an Eldritch Blast, I don't feel particularly inclined to defend Alcar, and I disengage and move here. And that's my full action. 'Cause
Interesting.
I can't attack.
So you tumble
Oh,
backwards
come
to the
on.
door, you stand up, you sprint down through the room, and then you just do like a cartwheel through this battle, just sort of sliding into this position on the far side. I love it. Cassian, a Dario goes sliding under you, but there are still 2 hobgoblins around you. One exchanging blows with Tramble, the other...
Wait,
with
what?
Akbar.
How did he get over here?
He
I went to
sprinted
look
through.
at his stream for 1 second, and I come back and he's like face through a wall.
He had places to be.
Yeah. Disengaged. What, here.
Okay. I just like to, I'm like, what's going on? A guy just slides between my legs. I'm like, all right, cool, just gonna let that one slide.
I get it. I get it.
Cassian is going to turn towards this guy right here,
Okay.
this guy right here,
Yep.
and he's going to double claw him. Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's not gonna hit.
No.
That one's
That
probably
will.
gonna hit though.
Yeah, big time.
11 points of damage.
Okay. Sorry, this
Lead
guy right
with
here?
the hook, catch with the uppercut.
Yeah, that guy right there.
So these are your claws, right?
Yes, but
They're on fire.
they're on fire. Yeah.
Okay, so you killed this man. How do you murder him?
Oh, well, I guess the
To
first
put it simply, finish him.
the first claw will reach in and grab like his armor and rip it open, which does no damage to him. But then the next one, I'll just jam straight through his like chest into and like kind of pull his ribs out.
Ooh, yeah. So it's just bloody, eviscerating happens right here, right next to you, Dario. As you kind of come through, you just see just like 2 pieces just kind of hit the wall side by side and are demolished. I'm gonna start deleting some of these bodies because it's too many. Okay, beautiful. Nundro stands up and he grabs a crossbow off of the table and he vaults over here and he is going to go ahead and roll. He's like limping but he's just sort of like cursing angrily, and he stomps over and draws his crossbow out, and hey, it's a hit. Deals. Oh, and this guy's already been hit. Oh, yeah, so he's dead. So this guy's still sort of like reeling from the hit, and he's sort of like readying his weapon to kind of swing at Dario as Dario goes diving with the floor and rolling into the room. And as Dario fades at his sight, all he sees behind him is just this dwarf with a crossbow, and he just lets it go. And the arrow just goes right through that hole that Alcar made in his armor and pierces his chest. And he kind of like gurgles and coughs up blood and then falls to the ground dead. Nice job, Nundro. All right. Right off is going to step over to Cassian. Actually, no, he's going to step over here. He's definitely looking tired, Frank. And he's kind of moving a little slowly. He's a little bit worn down, and he kind of steps into this position right here. And you feel his hand press against your shoulder for a second, and there's like a hum, like the arcane magic hum and vibration that you feel when you cast spells, and you feel just sort of the armor that you're or the clothes you're wearing just starting to like almost harden and stiffen. And in short order, you look down, and you are now covered in plates made of bark skin. Your AC is now 16. Temporarily.
Cool.
Hobgoblin time. So this one's going to... go ahead and risk a hit. Yeah, he's going to risk a hit. Yeah, it's a miss. Okay, so the wolf takes a chomp at his leg as he comes running past him and then dives into the room and comes at you. Oops, wrong guy. Taking a swing at Frank and getting an 11. Wouldn't have done it either way. That's going to end his turn. And then this hobgoblin is going to try and stab the giant rampaging werewolf and gets a 19. Not bad. So Cassian, as you are distracted with slaughtering your opponent on the opposing side, this sort of flank guy sort of fends off one of Tramble's attacks and then turns around and slashes at you before trying to turn back around to take any further hits from Tramble head on. Doing so, he has done 5 damage to you as he cuts one of your back legs.
So we'll have to remind Pogues that he took 5 damage when he gets back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The wolf is going to try and murder this goblin. He...
Internet went out.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Is going to crit. And that means he also does... I have to roll a DC check. Great. Destroying my own characters. And he gets he fails. Yes, goblin's dead. So this goblin tries to move in behind his hobgoblin ally as the wolf just leaps up and just his full fangs sink into the goblin's throat and just begin to tear him asunder. And he tries to run away at the last minute, but it is to no avail. It is defeated by your cool dog.
Ben, I think the goblins are supposed to go at this point, but I think we killed the one that had initiative.
I think you're right. So this goblin, I will get him there. I gotta remember that. What I sometimes do is I copy random. Let's give him a random. What were the initiative of like? Yeah, they had a 3 actually. Oh, they had a nice one actually. They had a 19 or something. So I'll have them.
Yeah, they
now.
did have a 19.
So he's gonna go now. A little late, but it's fine. And he's gonna fire at Trample and get a 10. So, not really.
I don't know what just happened.
Oh,
So he
no.
missed.
Yeah, so he misses pretty fucking bad, which is why
Yeah,
I wasn't too sad about him not going. And then let's say he shoots that Trample, and another arrow goes wide, and he sort of just let's go ahead. Wisdom saving throw. As he's watching this werewolf just shred everybody. Oh yeah, he doesn't like that. He just looks backwards for allies and sees no one, and kind of looks left and looks right, and he throws his bow in the ground and just starts running down like the pathway to the north.
Alright.
Abandoning the battle. There are officially no more goblins, and that puts us to Tramble.
Did I actually take damage?
Yes. You
How
took
much
5.
damage? Okay. And he's
This-
just hitting me with a regular weapon?
Yeah, a longsword. Are you resistant?
Maybe?
Alright, so I am, I'm gonna cast Sleep, and I'm gonna target it to where it only hits me and the Hobgoblin.
Oh my god.
So even during attacks, you just want a nappy poo.
You know it. Alright. Roll 5d8. Okay. This is
So
just...
how-
This may be a good strategy, because this is great, guys. This is how fucking sleep works. Creatures within 20 feet of you you choose are affected in order of their current hit points. Starting at the creature with the lowest current hit points, each creature affected by this spell falls unconscious. If the spell ends, subtract each character's hit points from the total before moving on to the next creature. So, I have 11. 22 is the number you roll, which means there's 11 left. Do you have 11 hit points?
Oh, I've got 25. I stay awake.
That means you stay awake and I fall asleep. That's a fucking good strategy. It's okay to catch yourself in it if you know that you've got enough BB health points left.
Alright, I'm gonna say, bound him, he might know something, and then I'm gonna walk back to my bedroll.
So he had just cut Cassian. He swings around with his sword, and as he puts it over his head, and then you see his eyes kind of like flutter, and then he drops his sword and just sort of like slumps over to the side and falls to the ground unconscious. And then you go running inside, and Agmar, your only opponent has fallen asleep. You may attack with advantage.
No, that doesn't seem very
Come on.
noble or just. So he has not been bound yet.
No, he has just collapsed to the ground.
Do it.
Do we have any rope? Someone want
If
to?
you have an adventure or an explorer's kit, you have 50 feet of rope.
I mean, I guess that seems a bit excessive, but
And then just
I
really
suppose-
tie him up, like do one of those weird bondage things.
A conscious character drops what they're
So-
holding and falls prone. They automatically fail strength and dexterity saving throws. Attack rolls have advantage. And any attack that hits the character, if the attacker is within 5 feet, is considered a critical. And if the spell ends, the sleeper takes damage, or someone uses an action to wake the sleeper, they are awoken.
I'll just
Take
kick
his
away.
weapons away.
Yeah, I'll just
yeah.
kick away his weapons.
Yeah, you can tie his hands up though. That is not actively waking him or hurting him.
And
So
then
he's
put his
not-
hands in a bowl of water.
He's now sleeping, and he is now handcuffed. Okay.
Okay.
Or bound with rope, whatever it may be. All right, Alcar. There's just a lone fucking hobgoblin running.
I'm gonna start chanting in Eldritch and draw my pack blade. And while I assume he's distracted by that, I'm gonna move Hex to him and shoot him with Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
Oops, too theatrical.
Yeah, you rig up his. You sort of start to generate the spell again, but this time with his free hand, he just grabs your wrist and pushes your hand upward, and the spell just sparkles and sizzles into the sky, sort of hitting the ceiling, and then he kind of pushes you back and grabs both hands of his sword again and readies to swing.
I kind of go harumph and tell him that was rude.
He saw that happen before. He knows. Like, Dario, you are you extremely elusive character. What are you doing?
I suppose I'll go save Alcar. Much to my chagrin. I race up, try to stab him.
Why am I picturing your character just like tumbling, like just like rolling everywhere?
Have you heard about Frank's
Yeah,
fucking
Sid Sander.
Star Wars character?
I'm picturing. I guess I'm just picturing Nate as like a Dark Souls character just doing the role.
I love-
That's all Frank
I love
was
that
in Star
Ben-
Wars.
I love that Ben is now
Ice
experiencing
frames.
what Eric has to experience every Star Wars game.
Yeah,
I'll be
that's,
like,
a big,
does a 38 hit Frank? And he's like, no.
No.
I'm just like, fuck you.
that's a big hit there, Nate. Obviously.
Alright.
The hit and damage.
And I guess 9 damage
Yep.
plus sneak attack, I guess, since he's in melee.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, finish him. How do you kill him?
While he's engaged with Alcar trying to take him down, I just slide my rapier in through the side of his neck and out the other
Perfect.
side.
Yeah, let's say he's like lifting Alcar's hand up in the air to disperse that spell. When as he lets go to like regain grip on his sword, a blade just sinks into his neck and comes out the other side, and you see his Frank. You see his shocked eyes up close, and he kind of like gasps, and then like blood out of the corner of his mouth, and then he falls to the ground dead.
That's what you get for being rude.
That's a good point. So combat is technically over because you have defeated all players who could attack you that are present.
I need a DM's ruling on something.
Yeah, hit me up.
When my character takes damage, he has to do something on his next turn. If combat ends, do I technically get a next turn?
What
I
is
guess
this
you
thing?
would do it once combat ends.
Yeah. What's
I
it?
have to roll a wisdom saving throw to see if I
Go
lose
berserk.
to the animal in me.
Oh, absolutely! You have to roll that.
You said no? Sweet, that's awesome, thanks.
Hey,
Go
go
at
ahead.
me, bro.
I guess I'll...
Actually, wait, I gotta check something real quick.
Yeah, I wonder if I might want to tell you what. Yeah, go ahead and roll it. Go ahead, Ben.
I mean, there's always turns and rounds taking place, whether or not you're in
Oh,
combat.
I'm fine. I just had to
Yeah.
leave it then.
So you sort of you snap your head over towards the just that delicious meat, that helpless hobgoblin just taking a little snooze on the rubble to your north, and you snarl and like you almost feel this instinct boiling up to just rip his guts out and just have fucking meal out of this guy.
Well,
Um,
if you want to just read this real quick.
yeah.
If you fail, on a failed save, you must move directly towards the nearest creature to you and use the attack action against the creature. If there is more than one possible target, the DM chooses the target.
Yeah, I love
So
it.
technically, I could have turned. You could have told me to be like, you turning attack Agmar.
Yeah, I love it. But this character is more appetizing because of how absolutely helpless he is. But you resist that urge, and maybe even Agmar reaches out and sort of touches your shoulder and says, "The sun's getting real low. Sun's getting
Don't you dare! Don't you dare Hulk me!
Wait. Can you cue the Hulk? Do you not have the Hulk music on your playlist?
I mean, you can have anything you want.
Do you have the piano theme from the end of the Hulk? Yes, please.
Probably no way to find it.
I think he found it.
There it is. Great ending to a TV show.
Okay, so combat has been successfully completed. Your enemies are fouled, and in short order, a goblin is dragged back by your new dog friend. His like sort of bleeding corpse, lifeless corpse, is being dragged back to your position. He's been being carried by the neck, and the dog just sort of drops him at your feet with like sort of a happy face, as if it
I
has.
pat him on the head. Tell him good boy.
Was that the goblin that ran away?
Yeah, the one that tried to run.
I pull out.
Oh no, sorry, it's the one that fired a bow from over here. The one that ran into the woods made it out of here.
I give
Okay.
the dog one of my rations.
Perfect. Yeah, you guys have made a
Got
good.
that dried owlbear meat.
You guys made a good friend here. Okay.
I'll reach down and grab the orc if I can, this hobgoblin, and just sort of drag him back through the door into the room.
Done and done.
I'm still a wolf man, just in case.
The castle is officially yours.
Oh, we get that screen of the settlers walking back in.
Yeah, exactly. And all the fucking merchants coming in. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go to the hobgoblin, and if he's not awake, I'm gonna wake him up, and I'm gonna ask them why they came back, and all the threatening, tell them I'll kill them, what have you.
Wait, where's the crown at? Is it still on the ground?
No, I gave it to Tramble
Okay.
after the first combat. I don't know what he did.
Oh yeah, I do have the crown.
Are you wearing the crown to ask him these questions?
Of course.
I think the question you need to ask is, will you ever not be wearing the crown?
So you smack him across the face, and he snaps awake and looks. And in front of him, we'll assume everyone's kind of back in the room. In front of him is both a man wearing the crown of his former king and a man wearing the armor of his former king. And he looks with shock, and he sort of like his hands are bound behind him, but he kind of like scowls and just and just says, we saw from a distance what happened to what was his name? Greg was the king.
Yes, I believe it was.
Groll.
Grohl,
because they've Groll jokes all day.
Yeah.
no, not Grohl. The one that grabbed the crown when Frank.
Oh yeah, it was
I think
Greg.
you said Greg.
Yeah. We saw what Greg did, and we thought we could with you weakened from fighting our king. We thought we could wipe you out for good. Wizards only have so much spells. We thought you'd be tired. We didn't know you had a wolf man. Pogues, are you still wolf?
Oh, yeah, I'm still Wolfman. Also,
Just heavy breathing. Just
I
like a
take
foot
offense
away.
to the term Wolfman. That's my word. Don't try.
Can you speak common while you're a wolf?
Yes, I can do everything I can do as a person. I just look like a Wolfman.
Huh.
So you're just panting next to him, and he's looking. I mean, he's just sweating and looking nervous, like Eric's gif earlier. And he says, "We thought we could take you."
Incorrect.
Yeah. Nope.
If your king didn't do much, I don't know why you thought you were going to do anything.
Well, we thought after King and then after Greg, certainly you'd be weakened enough that Darren, could have.
You
done something.
you thought you were better than Greg?
There will never be a King Darren.
Talk about hubris. You think you're better than King Greg.
Darren, tell us where there's treasure in this castle, and we'll let you live.
Roll intimidation. Oh, you did already. Okay, perfect. So he's sort of like he kind of gave a lot of information up just inherently because of his captive position, but he's not like. Well, he definitely looks nervous and panicky. He's not fully. Dario walks out. He's not fully like whimpering and like groveling. And as you get close and sort of press your finger into his chest and say, "Tell me where the treasure is," he looks up in your face and he spits right in their eye.
Kill him.
I was say that's probably not going to go over well.
I nod to Cassian.
Then I will just straight up try to rip him apart.
All right. So you can. You basically roll a critical. You roll a critical here.
Okay, so
Just roll a critical. You hit automatically, and roll critical damage.
what is
I-
critical damage? I forget.
It's your normal dice twice. So whatever the slashing is a second. time.
So 8 and 7 is 15 plus 3, so 18 damage.
I
And if that
mostly
doesn't
just-
kill him, I can attack again.
I mostly just wanted to see what the number was. Yeah. I mean, describe how you just eviscerate the guy after this.
I cover Pupper's eyes for this.
After he so disrespects my friend and colleague, I'll just like reach out and like sink my claws into his chest and actually pull him close and just bite into his throat and rip his throat out.
It's grisly. Agmar, you're
If I can be so, you know.
Agmar, you're very close. How do you feel about
No, I legitimately look away like, oh.
it? Everybody takes a step back.
I thought I liked this guy, but I think he just ate that guy's throat.
Dario, as you step out, you notice that there's a giant grick, a corpse, snake-like corpse, just like filling the hallway. And the goblin you sort of step over that the dog had killed that was running this way. As you kind of step over it, you notice that it's holding a key.
Okay.
With a little red like piece of like cloth coming out.
I swipe it.
Perfect. Okay. Officially, combat's over, and this man's dead. The bodies that remain out of note include the key guy, who has just taken the key, so he's not relevant. A dead Grick, a dead Greg, and a dead Lupo.
I assume I don't notice Nate grabbing the key.
No, you don't. Sleight of hand, Nate.
Okay.
There's probably still treasure in here somewhere, but we should get the hell out of here. I'm tired.
When we get back to Phandelver, I suggested Tramble see a doctor because I think he has anemia.
Yeah, so Dario, you kind of like lean over
Feel cold.
and sort of kick the goblin over as if you're just ensuring that it's for sure dead. But in doing so, you almost like a magician, you just sort of palm the key and slide it down your sleeve, where I assume you have some sort of like pocket that you keep in your sleeve for like capturing
Pockets
a little
and
small
pockets.
items. So as you guys sort of settle back in are you guys gonna rest here, or are you guys heading out? You can finish that short rest with the rest of your half hour.
I'll turn back into a man and be somewhat disgusted at my actions while a wolf man.
We'll sort of cover everything at once.
I'm disappointed in myself.
We'll cover everything at once just so we can get this done. Let's go ahead and say you guys are currently in a short rest.
All right.
Dario, you start to you walk out into the hallway and you sort of put your hand on the wall, feel for vibrations, and you kind of turn your head and then kind of just really attune your ear to the surrounding area. And it's generally quiet until you hear a low grunting coming over here.
Oh, they're having sex?
Okay.
Just like a.
I'm gonna stealth forward and try to get closer and try to make out what that grunting is.
You do? Oh, beautiful. Yeah, you stealth perfectly. And you, in a short order, those of you back in the camp can go ahead and roll hit dice, as many as you wish. And don't forget to add your Constitution bonus to every hit dice to get the actual. So as you reach that corner, there's a fallen wall here. Great, perfect. So you can now see that there's a room that's still generally sealed off.
Oh, shit.
And there's a gigantic owlbear who's just kind of pacing back and forth in the room. The door in front of you is a heavy, overly barred door with a big, noticeable brass lock, and a little bit of red thread hanging off of a handle.
Okay. Can I see anything else in the room aside from the owlbear of note?
Ooh, interesting question.
That's the treasure.
We get another pet.
Eric, you have a Constitution modifier, right?
Nope. Yes. You see that back...
How are your stats so low?
In the back of the room, as you scan the room with your excellent perception check, you sort of look around. You see lots of, gross kind of gore from maybe, whatever animal they dragged in here to feed the owlbear. And you can kind of see the rough bedding but you see on a high shelf above the owlbear's bed is a wooden chest with gold banding on it.
How large is it?
About a medium-sized chest.
I don't think I could carry it out.
Yeah, you could probably carry it out.
Okay.
Pretty boombox size.
Huh. Okay. Let me roll a wisdom save. Because I'm pretty tempted to just go in there with the potion of invisibility, but he's too smart. So...
well, your wisdom save, as you sort of calculate, staring into the room, you see the owlbear moves kind of around the room, kind of not in a fury, but almost like an upset pet. And it walks over to where there are pieces of meat that may have been there, and there's just bones, and it kind of nuzzles through it with its snout as if looking for scraps.
Okay.
It appears hungry
Yeah. Interesting.
and having not been fed properly recently. And then it kind of just continues to sort of dig around those bones, facing away from the chest. So the chest is right here. And the owl
Dario
bear.
does have that spare goblin arm.
The owl bear is now facing away, just sort of like digging around in some debris on the far right of the room.
Okay.
That's what happens with your perception and wisdom saves.
Wedge a goblin corpse in the arrow loop so that it has to feed on it through that. And then while it's distracted, pecking at the corpse that's stuck, go get the chest.
It's just an issue of doing all that without you guys noticing I'm doing all that, which would probably be pretty loud. So I think I'll just return to the group and tell them about the existence of the chest and the fact that I have a key that looks like it matches the door based off the red ribbon, and that there's a huge owlbear in the room. But it looks like there's something pretty valuable back there.
Do you tell us about the state of its hunger?
Yeah, and also that it looks like it's hungry, and if we feed it, we might be able to get by without attacking it.
Do we know what owlbears eat?
I bet a druid would know.
He kind of turns his head and nods. Well, they're hunting creatures. They attack smaller to medium-sized forest game.
I look at the pile of bodies.
Sure, yeah. They'll eat persons too. I've seen it. That one in the woods tried to eat us.
Alcar now proposes his gruesome goblin corpse bait idea.
The write-off just sort of shrugs. He goes, "It's gross, but it'll probably work."
Circle of life, man.
While this time is happening, he is sort of attending to Nundro with standard medicine. He's sort of bandaging up his badly cut arm and now his recently cut hand, and also sort of applying some general like poultices that he's got in his pack to sort of heal him a little bit.
I had a couple things I wanted to do this short rest.
Yeah.
They're not
Hit me up.
super important, but one of them seems appropriate right now. The druid was wounded and winded, and I just wanted to make sure that he's okay and that there's nothing more amiss than just him being old and fighting.
He kind of starts to, as you kind of come over and talk to him while he's working on Nundro's like maybe bruised ankle, trying to wrapping it up so he can walk a bit sturdier on his twisted ankle. He kind of nods and goes, "Yeah, I've certainly seen," and he kind of like lets out a unnerving cough, like a real like kind of like lose yourself for a second cough, but then he composes himself and says that he's all right. It's just been a long time since he's fought in this long. Usually, he has to sort of wound a forest like an owl bear enough for it to retreat, and then he can move on. And occasionally fell a few goblins that tried to sneak up on him or whatever it may be. But he's certainly never raided a castle, and it's been a while since he's used his wild shape, so he feels really just sort of tapped himself.
Since he's okay, I'm going to propose to the group that we call the Crows and have them take over the castle. And in exchange for giving them this castle, we could use it whenever we want or need.
I agree. It's better than the lair of that thing that was underneath the mansion that we were going to give them before,
I agree.
which we never killed.
So if nobody objects, I'm going to blow my little crow whistle and summon some allies.
Yeah, we'll say they'll arrive at the end of your rest, and some of these dudes will show up. Any other checks? Plans?
Who wants to help me with the owlbear?
I'll help with the owlbear, and I also suggest that once we're all rested up, we should sweep the castle for traps like we saw on the way in.
Well, we know that there's a tripwire at the front door that they disarmed.
Yeah, and there may be more. Or we can leave that to the crows. I'm sure they're pretty observant and nimble.
I'm looking for like a crow token I could use. Finding. Yeah. So Nate, did you have anything you wanted to do?
Yeah, I'm happy to let Alcar try to feed an owlbear while I grab the chest and run out of the room.
Okay, I like it. So, yeah. So, let's say Alcar, are you after taking? Are you done with the arrest?
Yeah, I think we're doing this after the rest is done, correct?
So you head outside with a goblin corpse over your shoulder and approach the exterior window slit. We've already proven that they can fit through this little window. So they are arrow slits, but they have also collapsed a bit over time, so they're a little wider than normal. And so you approach it with a goblin corpse slung over your shoulder.
I do kind of want to get it wedged and stuck, so he has to keep his focus there, as opposed to just pulling it in.
I like it. Nate, you approach the door where you saw before, where you can definitely squeeze through with minimal effort through this rubble here.
Yeah.
It's difficult terrain, and it's prone to maybe like making noise if you're not a little extra careful. But it's something you can sneak through. Is anyone else aiding in this plan?
Do you want one of us to be there in case it tries to attack you? Because I'll come with you if you...
I will come and cast
I-
guidance on Alcar when he goes to hoist the goblin and throw it in there.
Okay, so we'll put you outside.
I wouldn't complain.
Alcar, you've gained guidance.
You get to roll the D for that. I shouldn't have done that.
Do I roll it now, or...
Whenever you roll your skill check.
What skill check is wedging a corpse in a window?
Go ahead. So what happens is that as you get the corpse kind of in the window, the minute it kind of enters into the room, the owlbear shifts its body weight into the like a snout into the arrow slit and grabs one of its limbs and starts to quickly yank it. So go ahead. Let's do opposed strength checks. What do you say?
Well, I had a little more plan for this, but I guess we'll go with this.
I mean, the minute it appears, he just starts trying to pull it out of your hands, like he's hungry.
I was gonna tie a rope to it, but we'll do this. So
We probably should have brought 2 or 3.
I mean, if we feed him enough, he'll just get sleepy and fall asleep. So
Is there tryptophan in hobgoblins, or...
Yes.
shit.
So Frank, and maybe you do have a little rope on it or something, but it just, I mean, it snaps it up instantly, and the rope just goes, it just like zips right in, like you've just
Like a noodle.
Like you've just dropped a cow into the raptor pen. I mean, you've just sort of like fed this thing instantly, and it just starts ravenously tearing into this thing, and there's just sort of blood and smacking.
We're not going to want to be around that owlbear when that fiber goes through him.
So let me roll my perception. A little bit of a negative because I'm busy, and yeah, despite that 13 stealth there, Nate, I didn't see you.
Okay.
So you move into the room?
Yeah, I tippy-toe forward to the chest, and I'm basically just trying to grab the chest to get it out of the room. I'm not going to try to open it in the room.
Let's get me another stealth check to grab it, and then we'll call it a day.
Alright.
Yeah. Roll one more check. Oh, close. So you kind of pull the chest off, and you take one step, and as you do, the owlbear turns as you start to move. Oops. Does a cool breakdance move. It turns and quickly realizes that you're in the room, but at this point you're already moving, and so it darts at you, and at the last moment you sort of slip Indiana Jones style through the gap, and it's left there, just sort of its beak sticking out, just snapping at you. But you make it out. Yeah, I did not successfully detect your stealth checks, and you have gained this chest.
Okay. I'll take it back to the group. I assume they weren't with me.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Tramble.
All right.
Before
I
I
thought
open
that
it,
thing was going to pull you in there.
check it for traps.
I thought so too. That's why I didn't hold on to the rope.
So, the crows are closing in. They're about to arrive. Nate, you inspect the chest, which is indeed not trapped. It looks like it belonged to the king, and it looks like he kept it in there because he was probably sure that even the goblins wouldn't dare to go take it because it sat above an owlbear's bed.
Does it look like the key that I have will fit the lock?
No, it's actually you're able to open it. It's not
the key.
locked. The key does not go to this. The chest is unlocked. It contains. Ooh. Hold on.
Does it look like the key would fit into the lock?
No. The key is far too large.
Okay. So I could have passed it off like the key.
Wow. Interesting. There is 90 electrum. It's
like what 1 silver or something?
Yeah, it's about 2 gold. 120 gold, however, is in there. That's bizarre. Okay, basically, 122 gold is what we'll say is in the fucking chest game. And there is push of flame, which you recognize immediately. A enchanted scroll. 2 enchanted scrolls. Now, scrolls, unlike potions, don't require a lot of work to identify. Anyone with an arcane background can quickly identify the spells based on the incantations upon them.
I'll take a look at them first, since I'm right there, and I can cast some spells.
Yeah. So you can roll an Arcana, or Frank can just sort of handle it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it. So before Frank even gets a look at them, you identify them to be a scroll of the magic spell Silence and a scroll of the magic spell Revivify.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I probably want both of those, but you guys can argue with me.
What does Revivify do?
Silence is a second-level illusion that creates a 20-foot radius sphere at a point you choose. Any object inside the sphere is immune to thunder damage and they are deafened. Casting a spell that involves a verbal component inside this dome with silence is impossible.
Yeah, I really want that.
And Revivify, you touch a creature that has died in the last minute, it returns to life with 1 hit point.
Nice.
Yeah.
I say we should give the Revivify to Tramble since he's our healer.
That is a 3rd level magic.
Yeah, I can't actually cast it, so I would reluctantly hand it over.
Yeah, I can't cast it either yet. We can just put it into group loot.
I bet you that's got to. Well, I'd rather.
That's not, because, yeah, we should definitely keep it.
And I would say give it to Tramble, and then if he dies, we'll sell the Revivify to bring him back from cutting off his pinky. Is that still a thing in D&D? You just need, a part of a person to bring him back?
No, that's for resurrection. Revivify, you need the body.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is we'll sell the Revivify thing.
You just bring back the pinky alone.
The resurrection.
Agmar, you were just sort of squatting here on this ruined bed that's sort of half collapsed.
Squat.
Acquiring your rest. As you sort of try to make the area comfortable, you notice there's an object under the bed. As you shift it apart, you find a small locked chest, like a security lockbox.
I hold it up. Give it.
I lied to you. It's actually just a stitched leather bag.
Oh, well then I
My bad.
pull it open and take a gander inside.
Containing. Okay, containing 100. No, sorry, containing about 30 gold and 3 potions of healing.
I pass the brewskis around.
And that does it. That does it for the old castle treasure. Yeah, so you kind of gather up this what appears to be a small stash left here by King Groll under his own bed. As you sort of sort through this gear that you've acquired, as well as get your necessary rest to restore some of the bandage up your wounds and restore some of the stamina that you lost, slaughtering what was essentially just a constant tidal wave of hobgoblins. You finally hear the approach, the caw of the druid's eagle, or hawk or whatever, and in short order, a number of the what you definitely recognize to be the crows begin to arrive.
The falcon lands and is like, guys, I saw some goblins coming about 15 minutes ago. Oh, you already found them. Okay, well, I gotta go then. Also, just for the record, Ben, apparently an electrum is worth half a gold. I don't know why you would need a currency just for that.
It's like having fucking pennies.
No, it's like having it's like having yeah, it's just weird. It's like being like, I don't know,
pointless. Dimes
and then a 50-cent piece. It just feels like kind of pointless. But it's at least more money than we thought it was.
So before these crows arrive in short order, it's not the same crow. It's not what was his, I can't remember. The Elder Crow, whatever his name is.
Did the Elder Crow have a name?
Yeah,
he has a name.
I think so.
Yeah, I forget. It's fine. They're just clearly members of a similar band. They're wearing the necessary, crow feathers, and one of them does step forward. It's a sort of a younger woman who is pretty badly burned. She's got sort of like a scar, like burned scar that kind of covers like most of the side of her face, including one eye. And she's wielding a staff that she sort of fashioned into like a bladed weapon. And she steps up and sort of nods at you. Drew, thank you. And kind of walks up, and then she kind of smiles and tilts her head and extends her hand to shake your hand.
I shake her hand, and I tell her I'm a friend of Elder Crow Droog.
And she smiles, seeming to have assumed that, but like having confirmed by both name and seeing the whistle that you've blown, she acknowledges it. Just so we don't spend too much time in the castle, let's go ahead and summarize your conversation. What is it that you wish to impart to the crows?
I impart to them that I think that it would be good for the crows to have a stronghold where they could retreat to if need be, and that this place is now free, and I want to gift it to them with the understanding that if we need to, we can use it in our times of need as well.
The crow sort of leans over her shoulder and sees the dead Grick just sort of sprawled out across the storage room, and just is
free meat.
And her eyes go wide, and she kind of she almost asks for you to retell the tale, which I assume you tell her sort of like what you've done here, and the rest of the crows look like sufficiently impressed, and they kind of lean back and they scour the place, and she acknowledges that it is in disrepair. But that's not anything they're unfamiliar with. In fact, they're quite adept at fixing up places that others would have just assumed lost to the ages. And after a conversation with her allies, she asks, how can you be sure that the Kragmaws won't return?
I can't be sure of that, but if they do, you can either hold it or leave. You lose nothing.
I give her the king's crown.
And she just like almost doesn't know what to do, but she very gingerly accepts it, and she kind of slowly puts it on, and she's like, "Well, that will certainly scare off some of the goblins, and if most of the hobgoblins were felled here, then, well, frankly, I think we have a shot." Yeah, I'm convinced.
And you also now have a pet owlbear.
It's true.
Just looks very nervous, and they all sort of like they are not quite sure how to react. Goes, great. What does it eat?
Just about anything.
I'll take care of the body.
I kind of kick
Right
one
now,
of the bodies.
So she turns
I
around
kind of
and
kick one of the bodies in front of her when I say
yeah,
that.
Perfect. She turns around and kind of whistles with her fingers, and about like 15 more crows kind of like emerge, like almost completely camouflaged in the forest, kind of just emerge and come out carrying like lots of like packs over their shoulders and the crates and other sort of supplies that they move around with. And they kind of hurry up. They hurry up the hill, and they just begin to enter the castle in any of the ways that you can, and just sort of prowling around and starting to sort of drag some of the bodies out.
And we did warn them of the possibility of traps throughout the place.
Yes, they're being cautious.
Okay.
We warned them after one of them fell into an acid pit. Oh, right! I meant to mention that earlier on.
You scan them all as they approach expertly.
I'm
What
trying
is
to
it,
look around to see if this key fits anything.
Yeah, sorry. I think it may have gotten lost in translation. This heavily extra secured door also had a red cloth on it. This is that allows you to get in, and if you didn't catch it, the goblin was attempting to run back to open the gate and free the owlbear as the fight went poorly. But thankfully, your wolf friend fouled that attempt.
Okay.
And now your DM is going to step out of his narrative role and say, "For the love of God, that is all that there is to be found in Cragmaw Castle."
I don't believe him. Let's keep looking.
I,
Let's go square by square and roll perception checks.
Son of a bitch.
the last thing I want from the crows is the name of the new queen of Cragmaw.
Oh, I like that a lot. Yeah, let me think of a name. Well, I do. Let's talk next steps, crew. Talk amongst yourselves.
It's Phandelver, right? For sure. I thought.
Definitely Phandelver.
A quick sleep.
Oh, this is actually in miles on this map. That's cool.
I'll sleep when you're dead.
Wait.
It is King Rasa or Queen Rasa. Sorry, Queen Rasa. Their names are often just like almost like sounds, like sound effects. Grug, Rasa. They have very sharp.
She and Rassilin?
No. She orders that man executed by order of Queen. Order that wolf, kill him.
So yeah, we can do 20 miles in a day with only 5 of it through the forest, right?
Yeah. I love my system, but I'd rather you guys skip it. So we will assume that you guys settle up, and with the druid's help, you
With the druid's help and the crow scouts, I think we can get
and
there.
the crow
without-
scouts. Yeah, exactly. You guys simply cross this terrain in extremely short order.
Also, the crows now patrol the trail, so that should be pretty secure too.
Yep, exactly.
I am bringing order to this land.
So yeah, you guys reach Phandelver after a short walk. It was pretty late as you.
There, Nate, I saved you the time of typing it.
Actually, remind me what day did you guys? What time of day did you guys begin your assault? Did you guys-
Wasn't it morning?
It was about morning.
It was
Yeah, so
definitely daylight.
I would say it's certainly about midday, and after the walk, it's maybe approaching up on just a couple hours before the usual dinner time. The sun low, but not necessarily dusk. As you approach Phandelver, travel takes a little bit. So I'm gonna go grab myself a quick drink. So let's take a 5. What do you say?
Sounds good.
Perfect.
So, who's gonna claim the pupper?
I think the pupper should hang out with the dwarf.
The dwarf.
Or leave him with
Actually,
crows.
yeah.
He used to live
Yeah,
there.
this
There's
is
no
his
reason
home.
to make
He
him, yeah.
He should stay with the crows. That's a good idea.
Give him an ear scratch before we leave and call it a day, you know?
Tie a little bandana around his neck.
No, we fashion a tiny outfit that makes him look like Dario.
I was real worried when Dario left the fight with me and the dog, but it turned out okay. I thought it was going to be much tougher.
Yeah, those guys had a lot of armor, but didn't seem like they had much health.
I kind of like enemies that have dynamics like that, where it's tough to get through, but once you do, they fall, or, just anything other than bullet sponges. No, Pogues, I don't think we should kill Dario in his sleep.
I sleep?
Not anymore.
Nate would never believe that. He knows you're the evil one.
I don't think I'm really evil.
That's the best we can come back to.
Just worship Cthulhu.
I wouldn't say worship.
Admire.
I'm just saying, listen to some of his ideas.
Or else.
And try not to go mad.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna
a
say,
very real
that's the
possibility.
hard
Don't
part.
do that. Oh, Ben, we decided that we're going to give the pupper to the crows because the castle's kind of his home, and that seems appropriate.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good pitch. Like, despite its definite allegiance swap, it certainly seems to be far more comfortable here. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Also, maybe now that he's a singed pupper, he'll feel kind of a kinship with the burned-faced crow.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Who, in my mind, I'm calling flew too close to sun.
Wow, just because they're called crows, you assume they're Native Americans? How's our Native American DM feel about this
Not super hot.
extreme racism? I guess we know who wrote Suicide Squad now.
Look, why are Native Americans the only ones that get to have cool names like that?
And
Because-
Pose, that was going way too far. Way too far, Pokes.
It should never be spoken again.
No one should be accused of writing that trash.
It just sort of manifested itself one day. I resoiled Dario's clothes.
My favorite is you chill, warm, or flavor. These aren't really like similar things.
I've been toying with the idea of just like at mealtime, discreetly making somebody's food real cold, just so they're like always annoyed at how their food service is terrible. Can I counterspell his prestidigitation with mine?
You have to know he cast it, and he's very sneaky.
I want to see a stealth check. Shit! Does he have silent casting?
Big.
Nate specifically said I couldn't do things like this in his campaign.
I whispered it as quietly as I possibly could.
You basically said it had to be a yell in your campaign.
It's not my
I
campaign.
couldn't use it to do stuff like this for combat. I was gonna make guards think they'd shit their pants and be like, no, 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 can't do that.
Yeah, I don't think when it says soil, I don't think it means cover it in poop. I think it just means make it dirty.
Yeah, but what kind of dirt?
Like dirt. Like from the ground.
Can't be like mud. Mud would be pretty convincing poop. Are we all back? Are we waiting on Jeremy?
I think we're right on, Jeremy.
I just realized too that this is only good for an hour. So like we could be in the middle of like town and we're talking to the mayor and all of a sudden Nate's pants just slowly become like singed again. Oh, excuse me, gotta cast a spell.
High maintenance.
Alright, I'm back.
Yay! I think
My
that's all of
neighbor.
us, right?
Yes.
My neighbors are making it very awkward to smoke. I have to quit smoking. They're like they're this couple and they're like constantly in a fight, and they both go outside to rage vape, and then they like will go out there together and like rage vape, raging back to back with each other, and there's like nowhere to go where you're not within space of it.
I don't think there could be anything that sounds worse than the expression rage vape.
That gives you an idea of the class of people.
Blowing that dank nimbus.
I can kind of commiserate with you there, Jeremy. I was over at Bob's house helping him with like some housework, and his neighbors across the street got into a fight so bad we actually called the police because we were kind of worried.
I'm expecting to have to eventually.
What? Bob lives in such a nice part of town.
It's not bad over there, but it's not great. But like they were having a screaming fight so loud we could hear them inside the house. And then they were like walking down the street having their screaming fight and knocking shit out of each other's hands. And I don't know. It was like we didn't call the emergency line, we just called the non-emergency line, and so there's like a weird domestic dispute going on and is traveling down the street.
Yeah, that's the thing to do.
So you know, at least they're not doing that yet.
Not yet. It's just really awkward to go outside. But anyway, let's play.
Let's play. Okay. Sorry, I was getting something to put together. So, you are back in Phandelver in short order. Like I said, it's just shortly before evening. What is your plan?
Tramble immediately goes to sleep.
All right. Tramble's off to bed.
Are there?
No, I prefer that he's like asleep, like right here. Like he was like, "Ooh, Phandelver," just fell over.
Where is the local smithy?
It's top center.
Oh, I see it right there.
Would the Lion's Shield Cloister have a smithy service? Because we have a discount there.
That is where I got my breastplate repaired.
That is correct.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think that's right.
That's right. Go to the box store. Drive Smithy out of business.
Fuck old Smithy.
Big, go shopping at Big Box.
Generic local NPC needs your business.
Please! My father, generic local father.
Does the sword say made in Phandelver? Wow, dude.
Has generic sickness.
Seems like Dario and Alcar had a place to be.
Yeah, I would have taken right off back to Darren,
Yep.
like first thing. Also, I want to return Darren's pin, the Order of the Gauntlet pin he gave me to give to right off. I promise.
Wait, who's Darren?
I don't know. This
The
guy?
orchard guy.
Oh, right, cool. Yeah, I'll go with him because I have that guy's head, and I guess that'd be the person to give it to? Question mark.
Yeah, that would be exactly the person to give it to.
And
Who
then
were
to
the three
probably
that
bring
you
it to
did?
Sildar after that.
Sorry,
Ben?
So yeah. What's up?
Who are the 3 players that received the pins?
Me, you,
Me, you,
and
Cassian.
The person who's talking.
Yeah. That sounds right.
But Darren gave me one just to give to right off to prove we were who we said we were before you guys were members, so I promised I'd bring it back to him, so I'm bringing it back to him.
Okay. Yeah, so you arrive. We'll start with you guys real quick here. You guys arrive at Ettermath Orchard. The house is empty, but in short order you see Darren, despite his age, hauling 2 baskets of apples up on one on each shoulder. He's still a strong dude, and he's slowly approaching the exterior of his house, where he's slowly boxing up his prop into crates. And he sees you, and he kind of nods, knowing like, oh, you've returned with information. And then there's sort of like a shock in his eyes, and he swings both of the crates down to his feet, and just kind of like one of them even just topples over, and he doesn't seem to care. And he just steps over with purpose. He doesn't embrace right off, but the two share like a very notable sort of like look of uncertainty, like they don't even know what to say. And they just kind of stare at each other, and then they sort of share like a very like friendly handshake.
And then they bring it in.
No, never quite bring it in.
Alright, well I step aside for that to take place, and then
Of course.
I walk up and I say to Darren, I promise this back to you, and hand him the pin.
Yeah, and what do you bring him?
The Order of the Gauntlet pin that he had originally given us before the rest of the group were members of the Order of the Gauntlet and had their own pins, to tell right off that we were with.
Oh, right. Yeah, it was like it's his pin, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, he did ask us to bring it back.
He, as you produce it, and right off kind of looks at it and smiles and nods and kind of, Darren and him sort of look at each other. They kind of exchange a laugh, and then they kind of, Darren like slaps him on the shoulder.
Ben, I think you should look at the link Eric posted, because I feel like that's what happens.
Is this going to be the Predator? The Predator? Yeah, he's just like, right off, you son of a bitch.
What's the matter? Got you pushing too many papers?
Son of a
Yeah,
bitch.
fucking exactly. And Dario, he says, you keep it. I'm just an orchard keeper now. I don't belong to the order. And right off nods and laughs too. He goes, I actually lost mine a couple of years ago.
There's no
In the
such
woods
thing
somewhere.
as an ex-order of the Gauntlet.
Then I'll turn to right off and try to give it to him and say.
And he says, no. Your group has earned it. This is a veteran's pin, and it will earn you some respect of those that care about that sort of things. Which I warn you is not many. And the two of them sort of confer for a moment, and Darren sort of looks down and he says, I apologize. I didn't expect that you would all achieve so much. Have you learned the location of the castle?
We learned the location and we cleared it out. And I kicked the head of the king and say that was their king.
Hey, I didn't throw the
Cassian
head on the
is
ground. It's on my
carrying that.
belt.
I kicked the head of the king on Cassian's belt.
Are you with him, Cassian? Sorry, you said you were.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I went
Yeah.
with him to show him that. I will definitely give Alcar a very stern look when he does that.
And he laughs triumphantly. Shit. Walked us. No, it's fine. He. Oh, sorry. I just realized I skipped over something when I arrived. All right. So here's the thing. Let's assume that you guys broke off the trail as you arrived into town, and we went right for the orchard, sort of swinging around from the left-hand side. So we'll finish this scene here in a minute, but I almost forgot something to describe as you arrived in town, so we'll do it here in a second. Right. So you have this exchange with them, and Darren just seems to look bashful. And he says, I didn't think you did this much, and to be honest, I don't have anything of value to give you. I mean, I haven't for some time retained any of the treasures. I sold them all to buy this property. So I apologize, but I can say with confidence that you have, with great, profound respect, risen in the ranks of the Order of the Gauntlet, and this pin proves that you are respected members.
He gave us, I am remembering that correctly, he gave us pins and made us members.
He gave you
correct?
a single, very simple looking ones, like the kind that he might have a lot of.
In that case, this is kind of core to my character, that he's going to reply that restoring order to the land is reward enough, and he's going to just pull back his lapel a little bit and show the pin, and kind of nod meaningfully. And I'm sure that looks really corny to everybody else, but to Alcar, that's super deep, man.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So he tells you that pin will give you the respect of other members if you're to find them. They will certainly, at the very least, listen and attempt to help you as best they can as respected members of our organization. And as you're sitting there, right off says, "You have anything to drink?" And Darren laughs and nods, and the two of them clearly are making a gesture to head inside and have a drink.
I think we have business at the front of town to attend to.
Dario, Nate, you had something there?
Oh, I was just saying I couldn't say no to that, but it sounds like we've got urgent business to take care of, so maybe later.
Yeah, as you're sort of letting this touching moment fade, you see what your allies are seeing moments sort of simultaneously. As you boys, Dario specifically, and Agmar are coming down the road, you see a pillar of smoke rising from the town master's hall.
Uh-oh.
Is that normal?
It's black smoke rising out of the town master's hall. And you see a little bit of people kind of jogging that way, towards the smoke, as you kind of get closer to town.
Okay.
I go to investigate.
Yeah, so around this time, you boys, that as you kind of come away from the orchard, you now too sort of notice it in the distance, and Darren and Right Off notice it too, and the group of you all just begin making your way over to the area. As you guys kind of all simultaneously arrive in the center of town, you can see that the town master's hall has just recently been extinguished. It looks like it caught almost entirely on fire. It's not burned to ashes, but much of what was the roof and second floor is gone, and the lower section is mostly just rafters and walls that even one of them kind of completely collapses as you approach. People are gathering around and muttering, and looking upset and nervous. And you can see what appears to be the upper half of a body sticking out of the wreckage.
Can we identify who it is?
Not from this distance.
Does Revivify fix bodies, or does it just bring them back in the state they're in?
We can't actually cast it yet anyways.
Yeah.
But the priestess at the shrine might be able to.
I'm not using my spell on some town master. The guy was a prick.
What if it's not the town master? What if it's that kid from the orchard? Or the farm?
Well, what
Who's
was he
actually
doing in the town master's hall?
carrying her?
I never even made it to the inn.
Dario's crying, or
A very
I was
sleepy
crying. I'm like, it's
Dario.
okay, man. I'm sure it was somebody that didn't matter. He's like, no, I wanted to sleep.
This sucks so bad. I gotta go do adventure shit.
I hate it. Make it go away. But yeah, the building is no longer burning, and yeah, there's just like a single body sticking out of the entrance of the gate.
Is there anybody, like a guard or somebody official around?
You see the town master standing a few feet away, shouting at people from town, other members of the guard, and kind of barking very imprecise orders about pouring the water up and making sure. In fact, he demands that someone go into the rubble and retrieve his chest from his office, which is sort of like kind of there.
I want to find somebody to identify the person that died.
So, Frank, you step up. Is that right?
Yes.
You just step up, and the town master says, "Get away from there."
I sort of demand of him, I want to know who that was with my cold, otherworldly eyes.
And he kind of casts you off and turns back around to yell at somebody else, immediately deciding it's not worth tangling with you guys again. As you approach, you find...
Can I evoke my Heart of Darkness thing? My eyes, they can see that I've faced unimaginable horrors kind of thing?
Yeah, he kind of like makes eye contact with it, and he goes, "You don't have permission to just walk... Look, just don't touch anything." Turns around and just sort of like walks away, like ignoring you and letting you move freely. Frank, as you approach, it doesn't take even rolling the body over to identify it. You recognize it from his Lord's Alliance cloak. It is Silda.
No! No!
Damn,
Give me
he's
that
not
scroll,
pay
we're
us
gonna
for
save
that
him.
head.
Don't give him the scroll.
Sister Gorilla is currently crouched over him and looking dour. Like, obviously, there's nothing she can do.
What level is she?
No one's higher than you, I'll tell you that.
Damn it!
Who has
What's that
the scroll?
restful repose spell? Who has that?
Don't know what that is. The druid might be able to revive her.
It looks like-
Restful repose is a spell that preserves a dead body, and you can basically, by casting it, indefinitely save them until you can do a resurrection spell or something.
What's the plan, guys? What's the play?
Just ask what happened. Did anybody see who started the fire, or what?
The town master says there was an explosion from inside of our meeting hall. I was in my office and I had to climb out a window, and he kind of pulls his cloak around, and you see that there's like almost like flames that like burned his cape almost all the way up to his shoulders, because I barely made it out of there.
Is he telling the truth? Do I think?
You don't pick up. He's being an asshole as always, but you don't pick up any indications of deception.
Okay.
Is that an intentional advantage, and also what is that for?
Yes, that is an intentional advantage. I'm going to get close to the thing's out, right? It's not on fire anymore.
Yeah, it's smoldering.
I'm going to get close to it and attempt to use my smell to see if I recognize the smell of anything, like another person that we've encountered or anything like that. Just anything I can kind of get from sniffing around.
Okay.
Or I'm assuming with those rolls, the smoke is maybe too much to.
Yeah, I would say that you would roll. I'd say with the smoke, you'd probably roll normal without advantage, and in that case, your roll is relatively low. So as you scan around, you smell the distinct stench of death coming off Sildar, and you can determine that if there were tracks around here, they're almost impossible to discern because the guards have been running around in frantic circles, throwing water on the fire, kind of wiping out any, useful information.
What kind of explosives do the miners use?
You can go talk to the miners' exchange to sort of learn more about that. It's not something that you may have offhand.
Probably the same equipment.
That occurs to me.
It's old dynamite from a cave.
I want to examine Sildar and kind of also do some creepy, otherworldly last rites for him.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll an investigation check. But yeah, the last rites can be done, of course, naturally. Okay. Frank. Alcar, you crouch over the corpse and begin to sort of slightly tilt over Sildar. He's pretty hard to track. It looks like his body has been burned. But what's odd to you is it doesn't look like his body has been burned enough to kill someone. A person who dies fully on in a fire traditionally is pretty grisly, and while he is dead, and certainly his presence is not great to look at, he looks more like someone who ran in and out of a burning building. He's got light degree burns on some of his skin. He seems to have protected his face, but more importantly, he has a wound on his chest from a blade. It appears that he might have been injured or perhaps even nearly killed before he was involved in a fire, and then he attempted to crawl out and didn't make it very far. So without
that makes it even more tragic that we can't use Revivify on him. Alcar is enraged by this.
I was going to ask if there was anything special happening today. Was there a meeting taking place, or did Sildar come to the town hall for anything specific?
The town master says, Sildar and Eloise have been scouting the perimeter sequentially. They had a map and they were scanning the forest in sections to try and find an entrance to the cave in case your quest failed and you weren't able to return with the location of the Wave Echo Cave, and find out how to finally encounter this spider character. I don't know how far they went, and unfortunately, I can't tell you what areas they've already searched because the map is certainly gone now. But we gave them one of our meeting halls for the purposes of their search with respect to the Lord's Alliance. And he kind of catches himself after he says some of that information. He goes, "But I don't need to tell you anything. You don't have any authority here."
Is the town master armed?
No.
Okay. Good.
Huh.
Can I walk into the ruins?
Yes.
I revealed to the group what I've noticed about Sildar.
So there's still sort of half walls, and even like a table or chair are still kind of there, just sort of scorched black. and the roof is pretty much caved in and fallen to the sides, so it's mostly just like a first floor with no roof, or and just sort of the shape of the layout of the building. Any particular area you're looking to poke around in there, folks?
I'm gonna just do a perception check to see if I can tell like what started the fire in here. I do not know shit about fires.
Yeah, it's extremely hard to track. This building is burned in a multitude of ways.
Investigation.
Oh, good. I found out we didn't start the fire.
You know what? I guess
it was always burning since the world been turning. So
it would be investigation here. Probably lots of investigation or Arcana checks.
Oh, okay.
I had a -1 at that, so knock yourselves out, guys.
Frank, why did you call for Dario?
Nice. Cassian, you poke around the ruins, and obviously it's burned heavily in all areas. But as I described before, some areas are just sort of like almost soot covered because of smoke, and most of their walls are still intact. There's sort of a center room, a wide, broad room with a big flat table that appears to be. Oh, I forgot a note too. I'll do it now here in a moment. It appears to be there's this huge meeting table. It appears to be definitely where a fire began. It looks like a it looks like a fire began on one side of the room and then quickly moved sort of north from it quickly moved south, like from north to south, across the entire width of the building. There's about a 10-foot by 30-foot square along the northern wall, sort of on the opposite side where it looks like the fire started, where it almost appears almost unburned, where the roof is still intact above it, which is very odd. The fire doesn't seem to have started in one place and then spread naturally. It seems to have moved across the building quickly and abruptly in a very unnatural way.
It led me to believe that it was magic fire.
It would really give you that indication. And while Frank is having a hard time sussing out perhaps the spell, even that Arcana check sort of helps confer what you're already sort of leading into. I'm now picturing the two of you doing sort of like the scene in every bad cop show where the two detectives are walking around. Like you're just
Alcar kind of asks, do you think it was an accelerant? And Cassian's like, no.
Yeah.
It didn't move naturally across. It was simultaneous. It was a spell.
Accelerated by magic. And then I put on sunglasses and it's like, who are you? Boop, boop.
Alcar's like, what are sunglasses?
And in fact, Cassian, as you're poking around on the side of the room that doesn't seem to have been burned as much as the other, you see that there's a stack of books which have been sort of covered in soot, mostly books on local lore and on some of like the town codes and things like that. And you notice that pressed between two of these books is what appears to be a letter that did not go up in the fire.
I will pull the letter out. And I'll try to do it. I'm sure this will work real well. I'm going to try to like sleight of hand pull it out.
Sure. Roll sleight of hand.
Oh, I'm not sleighty.
Okay.
But I mean, there's so much smoke. I'd probably get advantage on that roll, right?
So you drag it out, and it sort of topples the books that were pressing it into place, and somehow just barely protecting it. And so it becomes very apparent to specifically Alcar that you've taken it out, but the guards are too busy putting the fire out to have noticed. And
I'm just gonna pocket it. And then
Alcar nods.
if there's anything else that I notice in this room, I'll investigate it. Otherwise, I'm going to go into the town master's room.
Pogues, you received a burned letter handout.
Could I tell where
my
Sildar
God.
was trying to get to when
hold on.
he
Sorry, one sec.
when he collapsed or died?
There we go. Sorry, go ahead.
Can I tell where Sildar was trying to get to when he collapsed and died?
He is halfway out the front door. So
Okay, so he was trying to leave.
he was trying to escape the fire, but he had been stabbed. I think I described it earlier in the chest, but it was in the back.
Even worse.
Thank you, Nate. I'm glad someone picked up on the scene I was illustrating. Just Pogues and Alcard's going shit.
Was it
I've
shit?
never seen The Wire. It's lost on me.
That's great.
She.
It's like 5 minutes long.
Yeah, it's a scene where two characters investigate a crime and solve the mystery. Their dialogue is only the word shit said in different ways, and it's fucking magical.
That's incredible.
I love that show. Anyway, yeah, so that is about all that can be found in what is essentially a building that has been reduced to ash.
Did we find
well,
the chest
fuck
that
balls. Hey, you guys remember when Nate said it's just me saying fuck? As I hide and read this note, you just hear me go, fuck, 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 fuck. And then as I read the next part, it's like, fuck.
Alcar doesn't want to be left out, so he says fuck too. Fuck?
If there's nothing else that I noticed in here, I am going to go to the town hall master's thing, and I'm just going to take his chest. I mean, depending on how big it is.
Oh yeah, the town masters. Some of the guards trying to remove it, but they're sort of weak. So you kind of step in and you just sort of just rip it out of its out of the rubble and just carry it over straight to the town master.
No, I don't take it to him.
Okay.
If Dario really didn't walk into the inn, I'm going to take it over to Dario.
No. Well, how long did
so
all
is
this take? Because he probably would have left, actually.
Yes,
I think the town master and the guards are going to protest.
Yeah, as you do as you're sort of stepping through, everyone can kind of see the ruins because it's like the walls are almost kind of gone, and the town master says, "Hey, stop him! That's my chest."
Does the chest look like it's been damaged by the fire?
Yeah,
So does it look like it's brittle?
yeah, it's not in great shape.
Burst it open.
I'm just gonna, and if he tries to stop me, I'm just gonna take it and throw it as hard as I can onto the ground and be like, "There, I got it for you," and hopefully try to destroy it so it spills all of its contents out.
Yeah, just roll me a it's just a strength check. Just roll a d20 and enter strength. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, you just pick it up, this chest, and you just slam it into the ground, kind of clear of like the debris of the fire. And it bursts open instantly, rotted wood and scatters everywhere, and just tons of documents come spilling out. White folded papers and like plain old envelopes, bound books, a satchel full of gold, a few gems and emeralds. A pretty like ornate looking dagger that looks to be like purely decorative. A small, very small, like but this big painting of him looking like dramatic. Just a few, basically just a bunch of his personal collection.
I will quickly though, bend down and be like, "Ooh, I'm sorry. The wood was weaker than I thought," and then sort of like look through the papers and see if there's anything quickly that catches my eye, or anything that is just blank paper.
And then you
like
realize it had
a
a false bottom, and it's just people.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm gonna roll a sleight of hand to take the peep horn.
No. Go ahead and roll a deception check to pretend that it was an accident.
I do also want to scan over it real quick and try to perceive anything that doesn't belong there.
I mean, it was clearly undeceptive because I threw it into the ground.
Roll a perception check, Frank. So Cassian, it is clearly, you say it sarcastically. You say it kind of like, I'm sorry, I don't know my own strength.
I'll just be like, "Oh, sorry, slippery hands."
Alcar, you sort of scan the documents, and while this looks
maybe I'm picking them up and I seem more sincere about giving him his stuff.
Sure.
Or something.
Yeah, as you pick them up, you catch lots of financial books and documents from town meetings, but there's way too many. There's way too much gold and emeralds that it should be in here. Like there's like a lot, and for someone living for the people of the town. In fact, as the people of the town are standing there, they are all sort of murmuring as you're sort of very obviously like letting them be seen as you pick them up. And the town master has come over and he's abruptly sort of like snatching some of the more valuable things up and jamming them in his pockets.
Can I move around the crowd and in like different voices be like, look at all those gems?
Roll a performance
you do the
check
Barney
for me.
thing. I'm worried we're gonna run out of beer. Yeah, me too, guys.
So you're like, hey, we should get a new town master. And then like some of the actual people go, yeah, we do need a new town master. And one of them, like a farmer, just shouts, he goes, I couldn't buy food for my 3 sons last month, and you've got rubies? Like, he's just furious. And the whole town is starting to really get riled up. But Frank, as you sort of pour over everything you can get your hands on as you pick it up, and the town master's distracted by this like light mutiny that's forming around him, every document you pick up is boring as hell. Like standard office worker mayor shit.
Can I reach down and pick up like a bigger bag of gold?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick it up, and the Shrine of Luck lady, the priestess, is there, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna toss the bag of gold to her. This is also just to sort of buy Frank more time to go through the papers.
Yeah.
And I'll say, make sure you bury Sildar with honors, and give the rest to the poor, and look directly at the town master.
Perfect. Frank, as you sort of look at some of the documents, they are pretty boring. They're mostly financial in nature, but you find a giant, large book. It's definitely sort of a financial keeping document where it shows payments going out. Lots of them legit, like payments coming in from people in town who owe money for the property that they own and operate, like the smithy and the mining compound and all that kind of stuff. And then you see an array of payments from Iarno. And you see things marked RB all over the place, and they don't seem to have an associated property. They do have an associated property. These RB payments are coming from the Trezendar Manor. That is not actually a legitimate property. Former home of the Red.
Yeah, that's good because I was kind of specifically looking to see if things didn't add up in having the ledger.
He has a bunch of very expensive mortgage payments from Trezendar Manor that go back from currently, like from like a few days back to like a whole year, which is insane because it's ruins.
Yeah, how long has that been?
It's been burned down for centuries.
Wait, he's been paying a mortgage on it?
Someone's been paying him a mortgage from the manor, like 10 times the amount anyone's paying for an actual.
I think that mortgage might be underwater, so to speak.
To be clear, it's obviously payoffs.
No, I don't understand underwater.
So I start reading out some of these suspicious payments, and I'm just kind of like waving a hand at the gold and gems that are spilled on the ground, and I say something doesn't add up here, and I look coldly at the town master.
Yeah, and he is...
and I make it quite loud so the gathered crowd can hear all of it.
And he is kind of gibbering and demanding. He's like, he's kind of keeping his composure, but he's like, this is an outrageous guards. And some of the guards come over. Like some of them stand rooted, murmuring similar to the others. But a few of them step forward to sort of take this book away from you, Frank. Do you have a response to them?
A little quieter, I'm going to tell them that whatever illicit dealings he was doing, he can no longer afford to keep them up. Maybe it's time for justice to be done. I'll roll a persuasion.
Agmar, I want to hear from you.
So I would step in to aid Frank essentially, and just put my hand on the hilt of my sword and tell them that there's no need for them to guard this insect of a man anymore.
So Frank, like about 4 guards stepped up. 2 of them sort of freeze halfway to you, and not freeze, but like come to a stop and kind of murmur. And the other 2 look angry and have their sort of spears out, and they point at them and they move towards you. And the ones that freeze, the 2 that freeze, begin to immediately retract and step backwards, specifically walking away from Akmar, who has delivered a sturdy and resilient intimidation thrown their way. The 2 that approach you, Akmar, one of them steps forward to grab the document, and suddenly his hand freezes in place. There's a vine wrapped around it, and now you can see that those vines that have quickly risen from the ground and completely entangled him from the ground up, and he just starts shouting and grabbing at the vines. And you notice that a few feet away, right off, he has his hand extended. And past him, Darren is striding confidently, drawing his sword that you previously saw mounted above his mantle, drawing it out and pulling the shield around in front of him, and pointing his sword directly at the town guardsman and demanding that he take his weapon and throw it on the ground. He does so. And in a moment of time...
Through all that, Alcar didn't move or blink and just has his finger pointing on the page where he was saying it didn't quite add up. He just lets it all happen.
In no time, just to summarize, the people of the town, the remaining guards, kind of just relinquish. They don't move forward. They just sort of stay with the crowd, looking equally as upset as they are. And the few guards that did sort of approach you have sort of put their weapons down and backed away and just sort of standing there without anything drawn. The town crowd has now doubled in size as people have poured out of their buildings. And the town master is sort of now completely encircled and just clutching a bunch of valuables to his chest. Looking for a way out. What's our final resolution here, gang?
Ask them to place them under arrest, I would assume.
Yeah, I think we're going to demand that the town master and the guards that didn't stop be placed under arrest.
Yeah, I think riding off of Agmar's very good intimidation check, these guards really respond to that intimidation much more than they do so perhaps persuasion or anything. And so they sort of step up and they look at Eric and they nod, and they definitely kind of give right off and Darren a similar look as well. And in no time, 3 guards approach and they grab the town master, and you see old Josiah Smithy steps out of the crowd and says, "I got a cage back at my place."
Why? Why do you have a cage?
How large is it?
Since it's for a bear. And since the town master's hall was the only dungeon in town necessarily, there's a murmur of acknowledgement, and in no time, a shouting and angry town master is dragged off to the smithy to be thrown into a cage. Leaving behind are an array of jewels and gold. Any plan with that?
I believe Cassian...
We should give it
should give it poor. There's no way we could possibly take that money.
The town is also now, the people have now without this single focal point for them to be angry at, they're all just sort of overlapping, shouting about a new town master. We don't need a town master. Specifically, specifically Halia, the woman that you met, who runs the miners' exchange, steps forward amongst the group with some of her associates from the exchange and says, "We don't need a town master. Our economy keeps this town afloat anyhow. Frankly, we just need someone to make sure that that our trading caravans can keep coming and going, and that's all that matters. And I can make sure that gets done. I've done it for years." And a couple people kind of murmur agreeable, but a few others seem agitated by that.
I will speak up. Probably ill-advised, but say that what's his name, Darren?
Yes, Darren.
I'd be like, I think Darren Edermath would be an excellent choice. He's fair. As a former adventurer, he knows all about the dangers that would challenge the town.
And he wouldn't have conflicts of interest.
Yeah, I said he wouldn't. Yeah, there wouldn't be any conflicts of interest or play any favorites.
He's slowly putting his
Also,
sword.
I totally know the miner's evil.
He's putting his sword. Yeah, you definitely know that the miner is from that.
We all
evil-
know that, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Centario.
Yep.
Immediately Halia begins to sort of kind of cut you off, Cassian. It says, Darren, the orchard keeper, please. This town is far more complicated than an old sword swinger and a fruit vendor can handle. I run the strongest shop in town, and thus I understand what the town needs and how it can prosper. I want to. I can take on the role of town master and ensure that this town continues to grow. And more people now kind of murmur in sort of agreement. She seems to be winning over the crowd a little bit.
Well, she's certainly done a great job cleaning up the Miners Guild since she took over. Runs a lot more
Is
efficiently.
that sarcasm or serious?
I mean, everyone in town knows. Since she's taken over, it's become much more profitable and organized. And
It's true.
miners don't slack off these days like we hear they used to.
I think it should be put to a vote. The town is made up of the town's people, and its future is in all of their interest. It shouldn't be one person claiming what's left of the ashes. It should be everyone working together to build a future.
Hey, I mean, tough but fair.
I mean,
can
I
all
would expect that
agree
from
that
Dario.
Alkai is wrong, right?
I'll look to the townspeople, really letting them see the pain in my face, you know, using Heart of Darkness.
Okay.
Which seems like a weird name for a power that's like, people like you. Or I guess feel sorry for you. But I'll say, he was a member of the Order of the Gauntlet. He's lived in this town for years. He runs a profitable orchard.
Yeah,
Is that
you kind of
public
open.
knowledge that he was a member of the order? I thought they were kind of secretive.
Yeah, I think people might have maybe an idea, but yeah, maybe others don't know it, and there's maybe like a murmur when you say that part. Post, you maybe open, the Heart of Darkness kind of comes into play as you open saying that you've seen stronger towns than this fall. So you're not speaking just hypothetically, right? It comes from experience.
Yeah.
It comes from loss. So that has an effect. So go ahead and roll with advantage on a persuasion check.
On a what check?
Persuasion. If you
Persuasion. Okay. Sorry, you just cut out on it for me. I couldn't hear which one you said. Persuasion, huh? You sure it can't be acrobatic?
do some very convincing cartwheels. Oh wow! Yeah, you blew me out of the water. So you sort of this moment kind of shakes the crowd. They've just been listening to her because up until you spoke, Halia has just been talking about ways to improve the town, and mostly just financially. That's entirely the focal point of her entire argument. But as you start to speak up, you have this movie Hollywood moment where people kind of stop because of of the reality, the grim reality you bring to them of what's happened to similar towns through your heart of darkness. And upon doing that, a few of them kind of go cold listening to Halia and turn to you, and even she has to stop because she sort of loses the crowd, and they listen to you, and they can genuinely fear or feel the fear that you're projecting from your story, and not everybody, but a lot of people sort of seem to be nodding, at least giving you their attention, and as they do, there seems to be people moving towards your way, and even a few people shout, Darren, he's proven himself. He's proven himself by a life of heroism.
How many of these people are just Tramble throwing his voice?
It's about half. About half. And at this point, just to end this section here, it seems to be that you may have a slight majority of interest here, but it seems that they decide to hold this to vote. And for now, they're going to return to their homes and return to their properties and go from here. But there's definitely some discord that's been sown. But I think ultimately you can claim victory in having edged the crowd towards Darren.
All right, if they need any more edging, I will point out that we have, at his command, eliminated the main threat to the town, which is the Cragmaw clan. And I got a head to prove it.
And cleared out Trezendar Manor.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you, Eric.
And you remind them of that, and a few others sort of maybe didn't know that necessarily, because maybe the town master didn't go around broadcasting your success.
Yeah, we didn't know. Did anyone really publicly know that there was bandits operating under Trezendar? And no, there are no longer? Or did that go unnoticed?
I think we didn't we tell them the town master, because we knew he was working with them? I thought we had kind of let people know, like, in a broad sense. Plus, wouldn't they have noticed that there's no more bandits hanging out in their town? Since they attacked us in broad daylight on their street?
I think they might have noticed some changes, and now that they know with confidence that the mayor was aiding them, or at least complicit in their activities in some way, that makes your sort of rescue even more formidable. So as people depart and you head to the Stonehill Inn, Jeremy or Tramble sort of pushes past all of you and is first in the inn's door once this stupid scenario is resolved. And he does like 3 flips over 4 tables, like parkour style, and lands in his bed, ready to sleep.
He's already asleep. He's just walking asleep into the building.
He falls asleep mid-somersault and lands at the bed, fully asleep. And that's your evening. You are all done.
I was gonna buy him a drink, but
does anyone have any final moments of the day?
Oh, yes. I would like to. Well, I guess since Tramble's asleep, I'll. Can I keep Tramble awake just for a minute to be like, I found this note. I think you guys all need to see, and sort of like get us in the away from prying eyes and present everybody the burned note I found.
Yeah, you head over to a table fully isolated from the rest of the group, and you.
Is Rafter Joe watching us?
No,
oh yeah. So you head over, Dario, or well, the whole group, and over there. So I've just added this to all your journals, but I'm going to go ahead and show to players. Cassian unfurls this note that's been singed pretty heavily on the edges, but because it was sealed up and pressed between some books, perhaps abruptly, before things got really bad, it's clear to you that it survived. Stop mumbling so much, so.
Does everybody in turn say fuck as they read the letter?
Still not sure Dario knows who the throne bearer is because he wasn't at that.
I think the bigger issue is. Oh yeah, we never did tell you because you weren't with us.
Well, I
So what
asked.
this- Oh, did you?
I asked Agmar about the crown tattoo at some point, but I don't think he gave me much information other than.
Yeah, so I'll sort of say that it's.
Yeah, I
mean,
would
there's
be.
a small chance she killed him.
Yeah. Any information that I would have known, I would have been forthcoming about. I wouldn't have hid anything.
Lastly, what's not written in the letter is that it's been sealed with a wax stamp. The stamp itself is simple. It appears to just be the symbol of an empty throne.
They just
Wasn't that
wanna
the
kill-
symbol of the one cult?
They just want to kill all the gods.
Correct.
Do we know Eloise?
She
Yeah, we
was
met
the-
her.
She was the Sildar's partner that was
Kind
sort
of bookish.
taking notes and
Do we know if she was
keeping quiet.
a mage of any kind?
She seemed untrustworthy.
Few people spoke to her directly.
Wherever there's a crown, betrayal follows.
Like
Who
that.
are you, the narrator?
Yes.
What? So the cult wants us to have immunity because Sildar signed the note and sealed it, and the seal implies he's a member of the cult.
Throne bearers seem to be not a cult. I think they're.
I thought they were. Who were the guys that?
Covenant
What
of
was
the
the
Empty
backstory
Throne.
for that? Is that their
Uh,
symbol?
Trying to prevent the
They-
assembly of the crown? Is that the group?
Yes.
Yeah, see, I think these guys are a group of the. What are these? What was Sildar? What was the name of the group he's in?
Lord's Alliance.
Yeah, it seems like the throne bearers might be like a subset of the Lord's Alliance who want to destroy the crown so that nobody can get it and become a god.
Okay.
That's the
Did
way
you
I'm reading
relate
the
that
letter.
much to Dario yet? or
Yeah, that
he-
is absolutely the pitch of the Covenant of the Empty Throne. They believe no one should know about it. So much so that
Did we tell Dario that the crown lets a person become a god, or we just said there's this crown that people want?
I know you specifically mentioned the cult because I asked Ben at one point if I could have had some kind of history with them through my criminal connections, but
yeah, I think we agree that you could have definitely learned of them, but not have been a part of them. So,
okay, so I think I know who they are already in character.
yeah, there's definitely some hair is pricking up on the back of your neck on that.
Okay.
Also, fuck.
Yeah, also fuck. Now that I know who they are, I'd be pretty intimidated.
As you commiserate over this letter and recuperate and get ready to head for bed, Darren and Right Off join you in the tavern and come to sit. And do you share the letter with them at all?
I don't know that I would
I
trust
think they're trustworthy.
anyone at all, but I can't control how you guys talk to me about it. So
Alcar
They-
kind of
kinda come
meaningfully
in-
nods towards the letter and towards them.
And yeah, because they kind of come in asking like, so you've learned more about what's happening here than we have, but we can hopefully help in some way. Is there anything that you think we should do next? And as they kind of have that conversation, you know, out of the note, and Darren and Right Off sort of peer over it, and Right Off is just sort of like looking confused because he has not been here for like just about any of this, so he's just defers to Darren, and Darren acknowledges. He goes, "I saw Eloise leave town in the morning." Or at least he clarifies. Sorry, he says, "I didn't see Eloise anywhere near the town when it was on fire. As in, I don't think she was in it when it burned up. There was no bodies found. There would have been at least some indication of a person. It wasn't that big of a fire. But it looks like she's left town. She's nowhere to be found."
have you ever heard of this Uridan?
No, I definitely don't know who that would be. Whoever they're writing to was certainly someone of importance to them, but I have no idea who that could be.
Where's the nearest enclave of Eloise's order?
I mean, he's not even entirely sure what this order is. He doesn't seem to recognize what the.
Well, I mean,
Covenant
Eloise is the
Lord's Alliance.
Yeah.
The closest would be. I mean, they were dispatched here directly from Neverwinter, so there's no, there's no local. They were just, they were field agents.
We don't need a continent-wide order seeking our deaths.
No,
No.
that wouldn't be good. But unless Eloise went off to alert other members of whatever order she is a member of, yeah, they're at a loss. They don't. They know less than you do. So they ask what the next steps are.
The town is going to need leadership, and it should be somebody that cares about the people. I think that you would be a good choice, or maybe Balthar.
Who's Balthar?
The guy we were making the original delivery to. Another
yeah.
merchant, but not as powerful as Halia.
Yeah.
He's kind of a pussy. We were able to push him over pretty quick.
Right off starts to agree and wants to sort of talk more about town, even though I don't think he has any intention of staying. But Darren sort of dismisses all of this. He goes, "Look, the town certainly needs guidance. You are sufficiently correct on that, but I'm more concerned where Eloise went. If she is responsible for what happened to Sildar, then she must have an objective."
I agree.
My guess is she's going towards the cave, right?
That was my thought.
Why?
That's what they were here to
Why would the
investigate.
Lion Shield, or Lord's Alliance? Why would the Lord's Alliance think that we were a threat? You're right. It's not the Lord's Alliance that cares about us, though she may use it against us. It's some other organization that she belongs to that's the problem.
Clearly, these empty throne people are zealots within the Lord's Alliance. It may not be that they all want you dead, but
It
this
seems
sort of
like the Lords of Alliance is sort of like protecting the crown by making sure nobody knows about it. So I think they're like she's saying is the fact that we know about it is bad because we may want to take it and use it ourselves. So she thinks we should be killed. Now, whether or not she's doing it in a noble sense, or because she's part of another group inside of the Lord's Alliance, members of the whatever, I can't remember what the other one was called, I'm sorry.
Look, I think a Venn diagram of alliances would really help right about now.
well, regardless of her intents, whether she's part of this cult or if she's part of the Lord's Alliance, or whether or not they're even the same damn thing, it doesn't matter. But if she is heading for Wave Echo Cave, and she arrives there before you do, and accomplishes whatever it is that she hopes to accomplish, then we'll never understand what happened here, and we'll never know this power, whatever the Black Spider has been hoarding, whatever he intends to do, that plan could be unleashed. You have to step up once more and end this for us.
You're right. Going to the cave undoes whatever she's planning anyway. So I think the cave is the next step for us.
That's the shortest answer to the question.
And that could be where she's heading anyway.
But enough.
Heck, for all we know, she's an agent of the Spider.
Let's
Well,
rest.
she's getting an 8-hour head start.
just sort of a sleeping trample. She's got a head start.
Rafter Joe, what do you think?
That? As long as he doesn't
Why
kill
didn't
us.
anyone nominate Raptor Joe for?
He's never hurt anybody.
Well, except one guy.
No, he's a serial killer.
So after perhaps an hour or so of more of conversation and planning and discussion, Darren and Right Off leave you to wonder Eloise's true intent and why Sildar wasn't able to. Why Sildar was it was required that Sildar die. And as you make back to your rooms, no one here is charging you any kind of upkeep. You are simply being given sort of stay. You've done beyond more than even like the mayor or the guards have ever done here. So they're just sort of treating you on the house. Obviously, we're now at the conclusion of a long rest. So you store HP.
I do want to, like with the late hours of the night, whoever's left in the tavern, I'm going to espouse to them the dangers of regulatory capture and the consolidation of economic and political power, and just basically make a case against electing Halia.
I like it.
I turn in early.
All right. So
I'm just gonna keep going around asking people to look into her correspondence.
it's morning
Emails.
in Phandelver.
See what she did.
You have all restored your health to full. Your spells are returned to you, and any one-use effects have been replenished. What does your morning look like?
I would like to visit the smithy.
Yeah, Eric, we'll say that you actually dropped your plate off in the evening.
I wanted I guess a quote about getting it back up to fully functionality and making it maybe a little more paladin-like and less savage murderer-like.
Put a halo on that skull head.
Do you want me to
I
take...
have a question in time.
Yeah. Do you want me to take the skulls off of it?
Yeah. Anything
Or maybe
that's...
make them look saintly, like relics, as opposed to terrifying skulls. You're gonna get some 40k armor here.
Yeah, I think Frank's actually on the money. This thing's sort of coated in sort of like a red paint to resemble blood, and it's been sort of done up with obviously like skulls and sharp edges. And so Smithy examines it, and he says taking out the sort of dent that you created by smashing his chest in will take no time at all. But to tune it up a little bit might take a little bit of time. It's all decorative, so it's just sort of chiseling off some pieces and etching on some new ones. So for the sake of the game, I would say that we can. It's going to remain being scale or no half plate. No plate. Sorry, plate. So it is some plate armor. It's plate, right? Yeah, it is some plate armor, and you can replace the +1 intimidation with a different skill. I'm thinking...
Saint it up and make it a religion thing.
Yeah, maybe it's a religion thing now.
Or if he's like taking the intimidation aspect off of it, maybe it's a persuasion.
I was thinking
more of that.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, so the so it's now been affixed with an array of runes that are have been written into it in whatever sort of language is sort of like the Latin of this world, and they are directly representative of Tyr. So these symbols aren't necessarily direct translational like words, but they are sort of they speak to justice and balance and order, and they produce sort of a calming idea and vibe. So in that sense, they no longer give you a +1 intimidation, but give you a +1 persuasion when worn.
He's got peace sign bumper stickers all over his armor.
It asserts to people that you are a warrior of the light, which just sort of might help people. Might help
a little
people
more.
believe you.
Yeah.
They're less prone to think you're lying. Great.
How much is this going to run?
So he'll charge you
2,000.
A piece of the price because he doesn't have to use a lot of materials to replace the actual metal of it. So he'll charge you about 400 gold.
400 gold. 400 gold.
How much?
The plate itself is like 1,000 plus, right?
Yeah.
A plate armor fresh from the store is 1,500.
Yeah, so that's
Well, real
So
quick, how much gold
super
did we
discount.
find out at the thing? Because we never divided that up.
I kind of listed it out. It's like 100 and something.
It was
120
I wanna say-
gold and 90 electrum, so that's 120 plus 45.
There you
Which
go.
is 167 divided by 5.
Is somebody else still doing group loot?
I put the gold into group loot.
Agmar,
Yes.
he says to you, you're a warrior of Tyr, right?
Absolutely.
Can I count on your word?
Above all else.
I saw what you did in the square, and I know what Darren's asked. I don't quite know the specifics, but I know that you're heading out somewhere that has two things. It has... Well, you're going to bring back two things, what I'm going to say. You're going to bring back justice for the town, and it is a place full of treasure. So, what do you say we consider the armor a down payment, and you come back with something of value for me?
I agree to that.
The best thing you could find.
But then I also...
I found this apple.
I tell him that I believe a good tradesman still deserves to at least get paid, and I sit 100 gold coins down
Okay.
onto a little sack of those onto his table.
He acknowledges and you say, you can pay the rest in treasure. Okay, so he produces the armor for you, which has been already retrofitted for you, and it's gorgeous. Frank, I want you to go ahead and look at Warhammer stuff and find him.
Oh,
a
find
picture.
an appropriate.
Yeah.
Give me a minute and I'll do that. I have a game mechanics question. If I craft a deception ahead of time and practice it, do I get a bonus to delivering it?
Sorry, do what now?
I want to work up a convincing argument that I'm going to deliver to someone. If I practice a deception ahead of time, can it have a bonus? Can
Does
it
it
be like
does-
advantage or whatever?
Does it require a disguise?
No, it's going to be just a convincing argument that I want to deliver to someone. I want to convince Halia that she doesn't want to be the town master.
Interesting. Tell you what, as you awake in the morning, you've been sort of taking notes on Halia and what you might pitch to her as a way of dissuading her from her push to becoming town master. And as you head to down to the miners' exchange, around the midday, you discover that it is in fact closed. And
Also on
Halia-
fire.
It is closed, and Halia is not present.
Okay. No activity at all.
Yeah, the place is locked up.
This is a working day?
Yeah.
Okay. Are the mines my best guess about where they would have went to? Or
That's probably a good bet, yeah.
so do I know that the mines, it looks like, are further southwest?
The Miners Trail, yeah, I take you out to.
I'll just keep walking that way.
Yeah, deep down the trail, you eventually catch up with Halia, who is hustling her workers out to the mines.
Okay.
Sorry, I got distracted linking the picture. Was I there with Dario, or is that separate?
That was, yeah, Dario sort of... yeah, hell yeah. Dario was sort of hustled ahead.
Yeah, I left first thing. Basically.
Yeah, he was there quick and early. So as you arrive, there's just no sign of anybody there.
Guess I'll do a wisdom check to try to come to the same conclusion as him.
Sure. Yeah. In fact, as you glance, you can sort of catch a visual of Dario heading down the trail.
I'll follow after, but I'm not inclined to catch up to him.
Sure. Rest of you boys.
So, just to be clear, did you say the armor? I have to wait on the armor still.
No, the armor's ready for you.
Oh, okay.
He wants you to wear it so you come back alive and bring the trip.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
He's a good businessman. Old Smith is pretty smart. As you're standing there, you can see that there's a giant cage that looks like it's for an animal, and there is a furious-looking town master squatting in it.
I smile and wave at him after the transaction's complete.
He just curses under his breath and refuses to properly meet your eyes.
Like the orc guy.
That's a lot of gold. Cassian and Trample. Plans?
I don't think I have anything really to do.
Yeah, same here. I don't have any money.
I guess maybe me and Tramble will head to the... I'll tell Tramble maybe we can find out where that woman went from the priestess lady. People often ignore priest. And
Sure,
he seems
let's
to
go
have a
talk to her.
He has a good rapport with her, so maybe she's seen something or she could find out something for us.
Are we looking for Halia?
Yes.
The minor exchange lady? Or Sister Gorilla?
No, I'm sorry. We're looking for the woman who's trying to kill us.
Oh.
So we were going to go talk to the shrine lady to
Eloise.
see if anybody saw where Eloise went.
Yeah. Talk to the sister at the shrine.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. I like that. Okay. So everyone's got a little thing going on. So we'll jump quickly to Dario. Halia seems to be hustling her miners out to their claim, not too far out to the west. And she turns around as you approach and call out to her, and she dismisses her miners so that nobody's around to overhear your conversation. She kind of comes over to you. She looks like she's carrying a bunch of gear and stuff. She's like, "Look, we need to find. 2 days ago, we were this close to a new vein of copper, and if we get it dug up, it'll prove to this town that we can bring the value they need to keep them afloat. So I'm making sure that I could prove my value. I'm not wasting time waiting for a bunch of bumpkins to figure it out."
Sure. So I'll try to use as little of your time as possible. But before we departed town, you offered our party a gift, as I recall, that we still haven't collected. In lieu of that, I'd like to ask if you have any information about Eloise, specifically this group called the Throne Bearers that she's apparently working with. And if you know of anyone, or if you have any connections that may be aware of anyone working in this area named Uridan, who appears to be with their group.
She sort of leans back and kind of leans on one of her picks and smiles, and she's Uridan. That's a name I haven't heard for a while. Tell you what, I'll give you a rundown. I used to be a part of the Lord's Alliance 6-7 years ago. Different time. They're worthless. They're pointless. They're going to accomplish nothing. They're convinced that if they roam around this world, constantly sticking their nose in the affairs of local workers, that they'll build some sort of connection of unity across these fractured lands, and it's a waste of time. Money moves people. Power, control are the objectives that can not just acquire the things you need, they get you control, right? This town would be raided by orcs if there wasn't a strong presence here to ensure that it can't just be rolled over. That's what I'm trying. That aside, Erden believed that there was a larger threat to this world than simple orcs. He himself, like me, was a former member of the Lords of Lords, and he grew tired of their senseless, pointless endeavor, and he became convinced that if they didn't address the greatest threat to our world, that there was no point in just mopping up bandits. He was convinced that there was this crown, this old relic that allowed individuals to, and she can't even get the words out. It would allow individuals to challenge a god if they contained a piece of it, and it's absurd. I didn't believe a word of it, but he was convinced that it was out there. The Lord's Alliance didn't even believe that it existed, and so in time, he convinced others that it was a threat, and he had proof, I guess, that it was a threat. And eventually, he went insane, and he killed a number of members of the Order, and he disappeared. Word is that he died. Word is that he moved off into some unknown dark corner of the world. It doesn't matter to me. The point is that I still hear his name. I still hear people talk about him. So I know he's not. And I think he's been attracting people to his line of thinking. I think that he's convinced a few others that he's correct. And they could be anybody. So frankly, I think that's just further proof that I need to reach a position that the Zentarium and myself have control of this town and ensures that it stays sturdy and focused on one thing: survival. That's what I believe.
So I can tell you that your suspicions that he's still alive must be true. You've discovered a letter written by Sildar, sent or intended to be sent to him in the ruins of the Town Master's Hall. It's very recent, and it describes the conflict of interest between Sildar and Eloise about whether or not we 5 adventurers should live or serve their cause. So, have you seen anyone that Eloise or Sildar have been in communication with from outside town on a regular basis? Any messengers? Do you have any idea of where they might have gone and who they might have been working with? Or where
Eloise and Sildar were shoulder to shoulder about every second they were here. As far as I know, they spent almost their entire time pointlessly combing through the forest on the outside of town. So unfortunately, no. I don't know of anyone that they trusted enough, besides the 5 of you, to tell them anything about the point of their mission. They often wouldn't even tell the guards where they intended to go on a given day.
Was there a specific direction they would often go, or is it this?
They were pretty convinced that the area they needed was to the southeast. I think was where they spent most of their time. One of my men was able to sort of get a peek at their maps when they were in town briefly, and they were pretty convinced that an area to the direct east of here, near the base of the Sword Mountains, was the next region that they were going to move on to.
And in all honesty, we caught a glimpse of your map in the Miners' Exchange, and I was wondering if you are aware of anyone out in that direction who might be able to supply us with more information or have any connections.
There's nothing out there. A bunch of old mines that were abandoned hundreds of years ago, and just desolate, rocky terrain. It's a wasteland.
Well, very well. I appreciate your help.
I would say at this point, Frank Alcar is approaching this point. As you're sort of wrapping up this conversation, this story of Erden.
Alcar will actually keep a respectful distance.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So, also to answer your question, Pogues, your chart is similar. So I apologize if I maybe muddled some ideas here. There's really only two things in play, which is the Lord's Alliance, the broad sort of attempt at policing the world around you, and the cult of the Empty Throne that believes that this ancient art relic's out there and that no one should have it and that no one should know about it. And the throne bearers isn't reference to another organization, but rather what they call themselves, members of their order.
All right. So as I turn to leave, I'll notice Alcar standing there and be kind of unnerved a bit, but just tell Halia that if there's anything you'd like from us, just let us know. We'll be around.
Catching up on the art. Perfect.
Then
Frank, did you want to have a conversation?
Yeah, so this is where I was going to use my deception, persuasion, actually, I think, that I'm practicing, rehearsing in my head as I'm walking down the trail.
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, so I want to approach her and just direct to the point, tell her that the old system worked for her, and if the economy and the government are one, then there's only one thing to blame in the town, and that it could work to her advantage if she chose not to be the town master.
It's good. I like that a lot.
So should I roll a persuasion on that, or
yeah, roll some persuasion with advantage. She kind of sits back and leans back and says, "Huh. We could use a guy like you. That's clever. But let me ask you one thing. You're right. Placing the entirety of the government on an economic system, and especially one that could be prone to suffer, could make us look bad. But do you really think that I can flourish under Darren Edermath, the Boy Scout, the goody two-shoe adventurer who insists beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's a goodness that we all have?" And she laughs at that idea. That's just annoying to her. How the hell am I supposed to continue to operate under someone so infallible?
To that I'd say, whatever your reasons may be, as long as you believe that the town prospering is in both your interest and his, yes, I do think that you share a common goal.
Will you talk to him for me? Will you affirm to him that that I'm continuing, that I should be allowed to continue to operate the way I have been so far?
Maybe, but let me ask you a question. What's more important to you, power and gold, or the people of this town?
I bet you were smart for a half. Of course, power and gold.
But then to what end? What do they achieve if not to serve the people?
Did she just Chang that? Have you met me? Is that what?
She leans back
Met me?
and picks up her pick and puts it on her shoulder and goes, "Look, I like you. You're smart. I can use smart. But what you're talking about is pointless. It's the snake eating its tail. It doesn't get me anywhere. Look, just talk to Darren for me and get him to come to an agreement that I can continue to operate as I have been. And, yeah, I'll step down."
I'll talk to him for you, but I want you to consider the idea that power and security mean nothing if there aren't people to take advantage of it.
She turns away as you mid-sentence and blows a whistle, and a bunch of her miners sort of spring up from where they've been lounging and grab some tools, and they start rushing down the road, and she just kind of looks back at you and sneers, and then cockily just walks off down the road.
Damn.
So you definitely earned a step closer to her, her trust, and she's certainly willing to sort of step back, but she's certainly not buying a full-on argument to just abandon her course of life.
You tried to appeal to, her being a decent human being. That was.
I
your
didn't.
first
I didn't
mistake.
want that. I just wanted her to realize that power and gold mean nothing if people aren't there to take advantage of it.
Sure.
But I'm gonna keep my promise.
I think at that point you had conflicting philosophies, and she just kind of gave up.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to go delving into that.
So, as you head back towards town, Alcar, Shrine Boys. What's your plan?
Wait, what?
Cassian and Tramble.
We were just gonna go talk to the priestess and see if she knew anything about Eloise's location or if they saw when she left town.
Yeah, so I think unfortunately, Eloise has similar ideas. She said that she helped patch up Sildar yesterday when the two came back from an area to the southeast, which apparently was part of their scouring of the local area. And while she was helping them, Sildar was trying to keep quiet, but he was talking to Eloise about how they were pretty confident they can move east. And then he said that he wanted to talk to Eloise about something. She explains that she was sort of nearby, while he getting supplies to treat Sildar's wounds from a skirmish they had on the woods with a beast. And at a moment when they were talking and they maybe didn't know that she was listening, they exchanged interest in going further east to search, and they also suggested that Sildar kept suggesting that they needed to have an important conversation about the topic they had discussed, which he wouldn't go into greater detail out loud about what that meant. And then that was the night before. That was last night, so the night before the fire happened. And that's all she asked for. And as you leave, she gives you inspiration.
Yay!
Oh, that's sweet of her.
Quick blessing from the Shrine of Blood. All right, boys.
Just a place order of things. I do head my way to Ettermith Orchard.
And I headed to the smithy after talking to Halia.
Okay, what do you want with the smithy there?
Actually, just to sell. But we can cover it later, I suppose.
Okay. Any other loose ends?
Yeah, we do have a lot of stuff to sell, don't we?
Might get better value for the stuff in Neverwinter or a bigger city or something if we aren't in a rush.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to cover selling in game time.
Yeah, we could certainly wrap that up at or button that up really quickly at the top of our next guy. And it looks like answer Jeremy earlier question. Oh, by the way, Nundro. We didn't cover Nundro. He is resting comfortably back at the inn. Just sort of recovering. He's just sleeping like straight through the day. He hasn't had a good night's sleep in about a week now. So
Could we ask the Shrine of Luck lady to check in on him and patch him up a bit?
yeah, actually, no, that's better. I'll put him at the Shrine of Luck. He's being cared for there directly by a professional. To answer Jeremy's question, yeah, 6,500 is the next one. Is your next level? And you are at. This number actually might be old. Yeah, it is old.
Oh, my extra zero disappeared. When did that happen?
So you're at 4,700
Yes.
currently, and that is without factoring in the second, the backup reinforcement goblins that came after you, and does not account for any of the quest lines that you just tied up, which was like fucking 4. Will that put you to 6,500? Interesting question. I don't think so. I think even in my very generous system, I don't know if that's going to get you there. You probably will level up if you are going to the cave, you will definitely level up there, because fuck me. The cave is fucking insane. I'm so excited about it, guys. It's gigantic. Yeah, I think you're going to be on the cusp, but I don't think any of this stuff was enough to push you 2,000 experience up, unfortunately.
Yeah, 1,800 or whatever is a lot.
Yeah. So you're definitely going to be bumped up close, and I figure that as long as there's a chance to rest, you might be able to bump it up to 5 once you're inside the mines, because it will not take one game to do the Lost Mines. They are... that's a good dungeon. Okay.
Is that one of those things that we should, like, start earlier than...
It might be a 2-game dungeon.
Okay.
It could be. It depends. I don't know. It's got a lot of branching paths, so it could go a couple ways.
Does the stuff with Ettermath resolve next game or now?
We'll resolve it next game, just because I'm getting
Sweepy.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's a lot of political intrigue to handle at this point.
Yeah, it's good shit, though. I'm loving it. I did not expect a town revolt. That somehow didn't occur to me. I mean, the mayor was definitely corrupt. That actually was written into the storyline. He's definitely was working with the Red Brands, which was supposed to kind of come up with the Red Brand thing, but an opportunity to sort of... There was no real evidence against him that came up in the way you guys sort of resolved it, so I was like, well, not a big deal. So it was kind of great that it kind of got to be brought back in and tied up. It was excellent. Way to go. That was great pokes, by the way. the chest being smashed in the middle of the fucking town center was
Thanks for letting me do it.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Wonderful. Okay.
Oops,
Well, then, yeah,
Butterfingers.
We'll put a pin on that guy, and we'll pick up next time. We will finish the shop. We will finish the any final town moments you want to get out of the way before we head out to the Lost Mines of Phandelver. I'm very excited.
Excited I got some fancy armor finally.
Yeah, I know. Bump that AC up. You know what I'm saying?
Now, when you... I feel like the amount of times you've hit me where you're like, does a 17 hit? And I'm just like...
Now your AC is equivalent to your fucking sorcerer.
No, I'm still one under our sorcerer. You're 19, right, with the shield?
I think we lost Tramble.
Yeah, Tremor went to bed just like in the game. He's a method role player.
Now I really am just going to picture Jeremy always with one of those little nightcaps on. Just like a candlestick, and
He looks like
Long
Scrooge.
yeah, basically.
Oh,
Well, you know the character Sleepy Gary in you watch any Rick and Morty?
Yep.
That's pretty sweet.
It's Tramble every time you get back to town, and there's political intrigue.
Yeah, basically, I would say Sleepy Gary is.
Alright, good game, guys. Have a good time in Alabama. Eric.
Yeah, wonderful game.